Welcome, everyone, to the Lost Lowdown podcast number 8 with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
Hi, everybody.
We're back. We won't leave because there's mysteries left to be solved and all that good stuff.
Indeed.
So what have you been up to, Justin?
Oh, not much. But enough about me. Let's talk about Lost.
Lost, that's a good idea. Let's talk about Lost because this is part 3, and by 3 I mean 4.
Right?
Of our season 1 retrospective. So in this podcast, we'll be discussing episodes 16 through 20, which is what I like to call the 4th, 5th of Lost.
Season 1. Or if you're in
Season
England,
1.
Series 1.
Ooh, Series 1. I think Series is better, but, well, I don't know. Episode 16, Outlaws.
Especially since seasons stretch across 2 seasons. Anyway, episode 16.
Episode 16, Outlaws. I'll just read the handy-dandy synopsis from the Season 1 booklet.
Yes. Read along at home.
Read it along at home if you have it, and everyone should have this because it's a good DVD set.
Indeed.
So, in the middle of the night, a wild boar steals the tarp that Sawyer has been using for his roof. Sawyer enlists Kate to help him track down the boar, but she takes advantage of his situation by asking for something in return. That Kate. While Kate and Sawyer hunt down the animal, Charlie's strange behavior causes Hurley to suspect he's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, so far in reading these synopses, I have to say they picked the most boring things to talk about in the episodes. There's a lot more interesting things going on in this episode than Charlie having post-traumatic stress disorder. And that's one of the things we'll get into right now. So, let's go.
Okay.
So first, I think we've been doing this thing sort of non-formally, where we talk about the title, what the title episode means in terms of the episode.
Yeah.
Outlaws. I have an idea what it means. Would you like to venture a guess as to how the title relates to the episode?
Oh boy, putting me on the spot there. I hadn't really thought about it.
Oh, folks, look at that. He's all bashful.
Yeah, I mean, Outlaws. Yeah.
It helps that it's plural.
Yeah, I know. That makes it different. I would say something obvious, if it were outlaw.
Well, there's a line. I didn't really know exactly what it meant because it is plural. Obviously, outlaw should be Sawyer, right?
I would think.
Okay. It's plural, so I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. It's outlaws. And then there's a line in this episode that Sawyer says to Kate. And when they're playing the little game, the little drinking game, which I could have watched like another hour of that. I love that game. It was very fun watching them play that. Play I Never.
Yeah, I know. It's a scene I really want to hate, but...
Yeah, it was just interesting watching it, because, I don't know, you really get some good character stuff out of that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry with all you get is what the good stuff, you don't have to watch a whole flashback or anything like that.
Right.
But,
and
anyway...
it turns really ridiculous. Like, I've never been trapped on an island and said that I wanted to do this, but I really wanted to... Okay.
Yeah, you gotta drink.
When you get that specific, I'm sure you've never done that.
Anyway, the line that helped me figure out what this episode was about was Sawyer says, "Look, we do have something in common. We both don't belong." So I think Outlaws refers to Sawyer and Kate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does.
Oh dear, I forgot about Kate being an outlaw.
She's an outlaw. She's on the run.
So easy to forget because she has a heart of gold. But...
Well, I think her heart's bronze at best.
Yeah, okay.
So where to start? Where to start?
I don't know. Where do you want to start? Where do I want to start?
Well, okay.
Oh,
let's start
go
with.
ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
there's a couple things. Now, unfortunately, I was listening to our podcast number 7, and I was listening to that, and hearing us discuss those episodes actually allowed me to formulate a new theory about what's going on, particularly with Locke, but in terms of the others on the island. And I wrote them all down on a piece of paper that has since disappeared.
Good.
Much like Walt.
Ooh.
And, although I guess he's back now.
Yeah. Sort
of. Anyway, my point being, one of the things I wrote down was about Ethan. So in our last, I think it was our last podcast, or the one before maybe, we didn't remember what happened to Ethan's body after Charlie shot him.
Right.
And of course, in this episode, they addressed that as they do quickly.
Yeah.
And with little
fanfare.
Yeah. So basically, it's the scene Hurley and Charlie are burying Ethan. Basically, one of the interesting things I wanted to note was that, of course, in this scene, the person playing Ethan is a real life human being, and so you can see him breathing. But it was breathing very sort of apparently, and it just stuck in my head when Hurley says like he referenced the fact that Ethan is a zombie or something like that. Like he's just he's gonna come back alive any second now.
Right.
And I thought that was strange that he said that, seeing as how you could see Ethan's body like breathing.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought that was interesting was obviously the fact that Ethan was shot 4 times.
Oh, good.
4 times.
Good catch.
Thank you very much. Okay. I'm just going to say it. I don't have a lot of evidence. I think Ethan is still alive. I think we will see him again.
Really?
I hate to say it because I barely believe it, but I think we're going to see Ethan again. Now, how or why? It really goes to what Hurley said. I think that little comment he made about Ethan coming back, I'm gonna put my money on that one.
Do you think he's gonna be like a zombie, or do you think he's just invincible, or the bullets didn't really kill him, or
any of that's fine with me.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna be a zombie. That just seems too
I don't think he's
silly.
gonna be a zombie. What if Ethan was Smokey?
Oh God.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
I don't either.
I don't know, man.
He's an other. I mean, we've seen him as an other. I wouldn't believe one of the others was Smokey. That just seems too
true.
crazy.
Yeah, but maybe sometimes it's Smokey. No, I don't buy that.
I'll buy that he could be supernatural, and that might be an explanation for why he'd come back. But I don't think he's going to come back.
Well, if he comes back, I said it first.
Okay, good point.
Okay.
Not good point, but never mind.
I know
it's not a point, but yeah,
it's
whatever.
not a point.
Yeah.
So, your turn.
Okay. One quick thing that I wanted to bring up. This situation with this boar,
there's some stuff about the boar.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to get into what it's about and all that, but I just wanted to point out, as far as repetition in the show, it really reminded me of that scene from season 2, or that, not scene, but plot from season 2.
The frog.
With the frog, yeah.
Of course.
Where the frog bothers him and he goes to kill the frog. But in season 2, of course, he actually kills it. In this episode, he doesn't, but it just seemed like almost the same plot, so...
It was very, very similar.
Yeah, so anyway, we've been pointing out stuff that they've kind of recycled, and that seemed like an example of that. Not much to say about that. Let's see. I have other stuff. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Is that the right place? I guess we should wait on this other stuff. I think you can go now.
Okay. Well, towards the beginning of the episode, we get a very interesting scene when Sawyer hears the whispering. And if you listen closely or had your captions on, the whispers are sort of inaudible, or I should say unintelligible. And then towards the end of them whispering, you hear the phrase "it'll come back around." Now you hear Sawyer hears that twice in this episode, 2 separate times, and I think that's very interesting because that's the only time that we got a chance to hear what the Whisperers have said or were saying, I should say, out of these 2 seasons. So I think it's interesting that, and actually the fact that Sawyer could understand it too. He heard what they said.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really weird. I wonder. Now, obviously, you think about what that phrase could mean, and Sawyer has a bad history, and karma is not his friend, and that's what it makes me think, that sort of all the bad things he's done is going to come back to get him, or he's going to be judged for them, which makes me think of the end of season 2 when the others take him. So it's like they know what he's done, and now is the time that he's going to pay for it, or have to defend his actions or something like that.
Okay.
So I thought it was interesting, if the whispering is from the others, which is what we've all sort of believed or have been made to believe, then it seems like they obviously know about his past.
Right.
And which again has to sort of go to the telepathy angle, right?
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of the issue of how they knew their names and stuff later, without nicknames. Like, I guess if they can know something as obscure as what this guy said before he died, then they can certainly know stuff like their real names. I mean, because that's what you find out, of course, at the end of the episode when he shoots the guy who he thinks is the real Sawyer, who conned his parents, and he's about to die, and he says it'll come back around, and that's where it comes from.
I like to call that guy Foyer.
Oh, that's perfect.
Or should I say Foyer?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
that's
Foyer.
Possibly better.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and actually while you were explaining that, I guess one of the possibilities, just as probably likely as anything else, is that, well, maybe a little less likely, is that Foyer is another now. Like, maybe he survived the shooting. I mean,
okay.
You see what I mean? Like,
that took me a second.
It's the same phrase, that this guy said. So I guess you got to put that theory in there too, that he could be on the island now. I don't buy it, but
hey, it's happened before. So
yeah, that's true.
Not with the others, though.
That's
one there. We haven't seen an other off the island yet. We've seen Kelvin. But he wasn't an other. At least he certainly didn't appear to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So as far as the others being off island, I don't know. I may or may not have some information on that coming up at the end in the spoiler section.
Oh, geez.
Just as a tease for those of you who like to be teased.
Still a tease for those who don't like to be teased.
So I was thinking that. So what about the boar? Like,
I've got some stuff about the boar.
It seems like the boar leads him into the Whisperers, and it made me wonder if there was some sort of connection, I guess, between the boar and the Whisperers. So what's your thing with the boar?
Okay. I think the whole situation with the boar is the same thing that Boone had to go through with giving up Shannon, the same thing Charlie had to go through with giving up heroin. I think this boar was an attempt by, I'm going to say the island in quotes.
Yeah.
Or maybe the others specifically, to allow Sawyer to sort of give someone, or in this case something, that has done him wrong, sort of a free pass, or to forgive them. I think it has to do with let going the past, and let me tell you why. I think the whole thing with the boar really congeals when Sawyer has the dream, and he's basically sort of a flashback of when he was a kid, and his dad comes in and kills his mother, and then shoots himself.
Right.
But it's a boar instead of his dad in the dream.
Right.
And I think that obviously that the symbolism there is the boar is representing his dad, is representing his past, is representing sort of the pain in his life type thing.
Right, definitely.
So I think it's sort of basically by giving Sawyer a chance to, not kill the boar, which is what he does. He doesn't kill it.
Right.
It's sort of, I think, having him let go of the past, because he sort of had to be the bigger person. Like, obviously when the boar screwed him over, like he was just after the boar, ready to kill it. And then, by the end of this whole ordeal, he sort of says, "Oh, it's just a boar," and sort of lets it go.
Right.
So I think that's what that's about. I think it's a test by the island to see. When this show first started, a lot of people were saying that everyone was in purgatory, and because they were all bad, and then they were going to get the chance. The island was going to see if they could be good. Blah blah blah. And I don't really buy that, of course, but it does seem like a lot of people have been tested in certain ways. Basically, bad people have been tested to see if they can be good, type thing.
Right.
And I think this was Sawyer's test.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, he did the same thing with the frog, and he killed the frog.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was about. I remember watching that in season 2, and that just seemed like a waste of time.
I agree.
The whole storyline was just ridiculous. But I thought it was interesting that in this episode he doesn't kill the boar, but then later he kills the frog.
Yeah.
And the frog sort of did less to him than the boar did.
Right.
So I don't know. I've got a corollary theory about the boar. I think that...
You mean an alternate theory?
No, I mean a corollary.
Okay.
I think I mean corollary.
I'll decide when I hear.
Well, that the others / the island is controlling the boar. The boar. My theory is that the boar is not under its own free will.
I see.
Someone is specifically controlling it for this test or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the tertiary part of this is that the boar is Smokey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I see.
So was that a corollary?
I wouldn't say it's a corollary. A corollary should be something that follows from the main theory.
It does.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay.
Well, I said the boar was testing Sawyer, and then I said, the boar was under the island's control. I think it follows because a boar shouldn't naturally do those things. Right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Cool.
I wasn't. Yeah.
I'm magnanimous in victory.
You have my corollary seal of approval.
Ding. So that's all I have about the boar, unless you had some other stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I had written down. Because I remember you told me off podcast that you thought you had a theory with the boar. I watched the episode and tried to think about what it could be, and that's exactly what I came up with. That the island was testing him or helping him to work through his problems the same way it did with Boone, and I guess Charlie too. And really, Locke and other people.
Yeah,
Jack
what's funny is now I was just thinking about this instead of listening to what you were saying.
Of course.
I was thinking, okay, who else has been tested on this goddamn island? And I think Sun and Jin might be tested with this baby.
Yeah. Okay.
I think their sort of relationship being a big problem, and I think I got something to talk about that, but. I thought it was I was just thinking about the baby, and I was saying, well, what if that's the island's way of sort of, it's basically like what happened with Locke. Like, hey, we'll give you, we'll perform this miracle for you,
mm-hmm.
and then sort of either expect something in return, or there's some purpose for it. But basically, now that Sun is pregnant, now we're going to see, it's sort of, it's not necessarily a test in the traditional sense, but it's the same sort of thing that happened to Locke,
Right.
And who else has been tested on this?
They sort of like give them something and then see how they see what they do with it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's sort of what happened to Charlie, too. I mean, he basically, Locke helped him get over the heroin.
Right.
And then he had to, like, part 2 of the test when the heroin came back, and he had to sort of not do it.
Because, I mean, when he quit originally, Locke was like, well, you're going to run out anyway. So, he really didn't have a choice. I mean, he made it his choice, but in a larger sense, he didn't have a choice because he really would have run out eventually.
It's like either quit now or, and make it, it was my choice to quit, or quit later when you don't have a choice,
right.
Really.
Just because you run out. But then the plane makes it where he has an essentially unlimited supply, so it really has to be his choice.
Yeah.
Because it's free and it's, plentiful, and so, yeah. And that seems like it's tempting him or something. That seems a little different from the other things, but
it's all a little bit. I mean, it's all a little bit different for every. Seems like every person has it a little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think there's something with the island testing people. I don't think it's purgatory.
I don't think it's purgatory either.
But it just comes up too much.
I think it's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh.
Part 2, the island version. Who Wants to Be a Survivor-naire?
Oh.
Because it's Survivor meets Millionaire. Okay.
Yeah.
I got a couple little small things to mention. I don't have a lot more on this episode.
Okay.
I got a couple small things, like Sawyer voted Republican.
Oh, you mean Democrat.
Excuse me?
He said, I never voted Democrat, and then he drank, which means he did.
He said he never voted Republican.
No. He said, I never voted Democrat. Yep.
Wait, I'm confused now. He said, I never voted Democrat, and then he drank, which means he voted Democrat.
Yeah.
Which means Kate voted Republican.
Kate said, I never voted.
Ah!
Just going to check the transcript.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense. I thought he said I never voted Republican, but...
Yeah, the transcript says I never voted Democrat.
Well, there you go.
And Kate says I never voted, and yeah.
Touche, Kate, touche. The other little thing was, how does Kate know how to track? That was never explained. It's one thing to be an outlaw. It's another thing to be a tracker.
Oh, she explained it in All the Best Cowboys Had Daddy Issues. She said that her and her dad used to go tracking deer in Oregon or something.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching that episode. I didn't listen. Okay. Well,
I brought that up because that was the lead-in to her saying, anything you want to share, Jack?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
The flashback comes up. So yeah, anyway, that's supposedly how she knows how to track. Now, of course, given Kate's penchant for lying, it could be that it's not true and that she just learned it being on the run or something. But that's the explanation we have now.
Okay, I forgot. The other thing I thought was interesting is that in the little sort of flashback for Jack, when basically Jack turns his dad in because his dad was drinking on the job.
Right.
Jack decides to turn his dad in after he finds out the lady was pregnant.
Yeah. Which
is a baby thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to mention the baby thing.
Yeah.
Because, Claire's baby, Son's baby.
Yeah. Baby.
Locke used to be a baby.
Yeah, so right.
I think they all did, actually.
Used to be.
Well, he still is. Watch out, folks.
All week. So, okay. So I have small things, too. Do you have some more?
Oh, I've got more. I wasn't done.
Okay.
So, a couple more things. In the end, the little sort of scene towards the end in the bar with Jack's dad and Sawyer,
mm-hmm.
I sort of realized that, the scene in season 2 when Sawyer almost gets hit by the car because he's walking in the middle of the street.
Right.
That basically he had just come back from killing that guy.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Or wait,
No.
No, from when he almost killed him.
Yeah, he had come back from the aborted attempt.
From the aborted attempt. So I thought that was interesting, piecing those pieces together.
Yeah, definitely.
Then there's this one weird part that's not sort of, I mean, it's not plot-wise, but it's just weird. When Jack's dad is explaining, when he's talking to Sawyer from across the bar and he's talking about Australia, and when he goes, you know why they call it Australia, don't you? And he looks right into the camera when he says that. It's really creepy.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you noticed. He looks right. He's sort of like looking from, I guess, from his right to his left where Sawyer is.
Right.
But he stops at the camera for a good half second, and it just freaked me out. It was so weird. Because he's like, you know why they call it Australia, don't you, Claude?
Oh, God.
And I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, it was weird. You should go watch that. Everyone at home, go watch that part and look how Jack's dad looks at the camera.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very strange. And that's all I got.
That's all you got? Wow. Okay. All right, so let me
Ba-dum-bum.
run through my tiny things.
Cool.
The first thing I wanted to point out is, for those of you who've seen the movie Memento, the resolution of this plot with basically this associate or former associate of Sawyer's sending him after this guy, telling him he's the real Sawyer and getting him to kill him, really reminds me of what what's his name does in Memento, where he sends him after people that he keeps telling them, oh, they're this guy that you need to get, and he keeps killing people for him by telling him he's the person he is looking for. It just seemed really similar as far as the plot goes.
Yeah, I never made that connection because I never thought that Joe Palapinto, whatever his name is, was having was having him kill specific people. I just thought from watching the movie that he was sort of sending him just because like in this episode in the show in Lost, he had him kill that guy because that guy owed the other guy money.
Right.
And I never got that sense from Memento. Is that what you got from
it? I did.
That he was having him kill specific people?
I thought that's exactly what he was doing, yeah.
Yeah, I never got that because the details of how he had to sort of, figure out who the person was on it, like he would send him in the right direction, but he'd have to piece the clues together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And things had to line up, like the license plate and all that stuff had to line up. So you couldn't just say like in Outlaws, hey, this is the guy, and give him a fake name and go kill him. Like there was a lot more involved. So I just thought that Joe was, or Teddy in the show, in the movie, he was the killer. He was the original killer, but he was just sort of, having what's his name bide his time by killing other people. But I never thought that he was having him kill specific people that like would owe him money or that whatever.
Yeah. I thought it was the same thing. Like he was this criminal, and basically he found this guy. And Sawyer doesn't have short-term memory loss, so he's not going to have that situation where he has to figure things out constantly because he has memory. But I thought he realized this guy wants to go after this specific person who screwed him over. Killed his wife, I guess. And so I'll just keep telling him this guy is that guy, or leading him to think that this guy is that guy, and he'll go kill him, for me. And it just, just that setup. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just interpreted it wrong, but the way I interpreted it is similar.
Let's go back to Lost.
Yeah, back to Lost. So the next thing, Kate's carte blanche. Did she? I mean, shouldn't she have? It seems like she doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, she forgot she got it.
She lost it pretty quick. Like seems like a couple episodes later, it's back to, oh, can I please have it? No, you can't.
She forgot. Because it's too easy. I think if she has carte blanche, and anytime anybody needs anything, they'll just ask Kate to go get it.
Yeah. And I like to mention that blanche means white, not blank. But anyway. The next...
Well, I think it's one of those translation things.
It is.
The check is blank because it's white.
Yeah, I know, but... Yeah, I know. Oh, and then Jack's dad gives horrible advice in this episode.
What are you referring to?
Well, Sawyer tries to go kill the guy, can't quite do it, then goes to the bar, and Jack's dad pretty much pushes him to do it.
Oh.
And it just, I don't know, every time he turns up to give advice, like, it seems like it's really, really awful advice.
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to point that out. Because he gives the impression of being really wise or something, but his advice is really terrible.
No, he's not a really good dad. Like, later when, like, Jack is hesitant about getting married, he was like, yeah, Jack, you're really good, but you just can't stick with anything. Which basically makes Jack go marry her, which was a bad idea.
I was going to bring that up later. I was going to tie that back to this with Jack's dad giving bad advice again.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So I'm done with this episode. Episode 17, ... in translation. Which is weird, because on the DVD, it just says in translations, but when it's printed, it has the ellipses in front. Whatever. A mysterious arsonist destroys Michael's raft, and everyone's suspicions turn to Jin, whose inability to defend himself prompts him to flee into the jungle. Oh, is that why he leaves? Okay.
I didn't think that's why he left.
I didn't think that's why he left either.
These descriptions always throw me. They say stuff like I never believed.
Okay. As the castaways hunt Jin down, Sun must decide the best way to protect her husband, even as she suspects that he may be guilty. Wow, there's so much more going on in this episode than that.
Yeah.
That's one plot line. Thanks, guys.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't think he left because, well, I thought he left because people were going to think he did it, but I didn't think it was specifically because he felt like he couldn't defend himself.
I thought he left because he burned himself. I didn't think it was more complicated than that.
No, not just because he burned himself.
That's what I thought. Like, when she goes and finds him, he's, like, nursing his wounds. He was nursing his wounds, but he was gone from the camp and stuff. Because, like, the medical supplies were in the cave. I just assumed that's why he went.
But he left, though. Like, he still left after that.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. So, in translation, it's one of those titles when they like to do the show is called Lost, so they get to like make little jokes out of whatever the episode title is.
Yes.
Lost ... in translation.
Right. I believe there's And Found in season 2.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So luckily we only get one of those a season.
Yeah, thank God.
I don't know what season 3 is going to be. Lost ... my mind.
Oh.
My wallet.
Oh.
So, this episode is obviously Sun and Jin's BS.
Right.
We
always have to have at least 2 of these a season.
Well, there's 2 of them. There's a couple little things. I don't have a lot in this episode, like, at all. There's a couple little things that I thought was interesting. So, basically, we found out that they were in Australia because they were going to LA for their honeymoon.
That's not what I thought.
Well, I wrote that, but also he was delivering watches for Sun's dad.
I thought that's the only reason they went was the watches. They had that scene where it was like, we're not going on a honeymoon because I have to work.
Yeah, but didn't he say... But I thought he said something like later, like, we'll have the honeymoon in LA or something.
Really? Wow.
Or maybe I wrote this down and then later I found out I was wrong. I don't know.
I thought it was just the watches. I didn't think that was supposed to be a honeymoon. I mean, does that mean Sun was cutting out on her own honeymoon?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I really didn't think that was supposed to be. I didn't think it was that close to them being married. I thought, like, by the time they left, they had been married a while. Like, years, I think. Like, that couldn't have been a honeymoon, right? Because she learned English after she was married to him because she was going to run away. And, like, yeah, so they've been married years. I mean, it would be weird if that was the honeymoon.
That's all I have to say.
Okay. I think it was just the watches. He had to deliver watches to associates in Sydney and Los Angeles. So, yeah.
It's because yeah, here we go. He's like, I have to work, and she's like, what about our honeymoon? Because they had just gotten married.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and Jen's like, I want to go. It's just that right now, I want your father to see him committed. And she's like, he won't hold it against you. After all, I'm his daughter.
Right.
And then he goes, in 6 months after my management training is all done.
Mm-hmm.
And she's sort of sad.
Right.
And then he says, I promise we'll have the honeymoon we always dreamed of. So I guess I just put two and two together that this was after that period, and they were going to LA on their honeymoon. I guess I just made that up.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I guess, if it is their honeymoon, it's much later than 6 months.
Okay, I'll buy that.
So, yeah. I don't think there's concrete evidence that it's not. I just... Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, the other thing, when Jin goes to see his dad...
Oh.
And his dad, and Jin says, in a good world, she would hate him, not me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jin's father goes, it is a good world. And so you get this good-bad thing again.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I didn't make that connection.
And speaking of Jin and Sun, since it's their episode,
yeah.
I thought it was interesting in this episode we find out that Jin was actually going to stay in America.
Yeah.
To save his marriage.
Right.
So Sun was actually going to, if they didn't crash in the plane, the original plan was Sun was going to leave,
right.
Basically she would have left him right when he's committed to the marriage and was about to go to America to start a new life.
Right.
So I thought that was sort of nice, and it was sort of, not that it happened, but it would have been nice and tragic.
Right. Yeah, like just in time for her to run away, he decides to try to make it work.
Yeah.
I somehow I don't know, I missed that the first time through, that he was actually gonna run away. And I guess that's what that scene was about, that like guy who comes up to in the bathroom and starts speaking Korean, and he's like, we're watching you or whatever.
Exactly.
Like somehow they figure out that he's planning to do this, and obviously they're not going to find him on the island, but it's sort of like you can't run away.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a few things.
Okay.
I wanted to mention Sun's line. She gets me every time with this shit she just says, and she says, you don't know what he's capable of, referring to Jen, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, I guess she doesn't either, because from what we've seen, it's just like Kate. That's what the marshal said about Kate. You don't know what she's capable of. And, what she's capable of is, the nicest crime possible.
Yeah.
And
hey, she might steal your briefcase.
Oh no. Yeah. In a very, yeah, God. And so come to find out, in this episode, that what Jin did that resulted in him being covered in blood was save a guy's life.
Yeah.
Sure, he beat him up, but he basically had to. Better beat up than kill.
Well, it's all about perspective, and there's two things, and it goes to what about Kate too, is that the marshal said you don't know what she's capable of, and I always assumed that there was a lot more going on, that they had a longer history than what we've just seen in the episodes. Like he's been chasing her for a long time. He's seen, I always felt like she killed more people than just what we've seen in her efforts to escape, and that's what that line is referring, that she'll basically do anything it takes. And it's not just work on some Australian person's farm, like that doesn't count, So the same thing with Jin, I think, like Sun is saying, you don't know what he's capable of, partially because her husband came home with blood. I think she assumes, like we all did, that he killed somebody.
Right.
So she's got that in his head, that he's capable of killing someone.
Yeah.
And so, I can see why she says that. It is a little inaccurate, but we just have the power of perspective, because we know what he really did.
Right.
But yeah, I know what you mean. It's funny to say that when it's like all he did was like beat up a guy and whatever. And,
and save his life. I mean,
but on the same token, my point was that I feel like over the years of them being married or whatever, Jen has done other things that maybe she knows a little bit about.
Yeah.
And so we haven't necessarily seen them because obviously he got more invested in the job with her father than what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Like he's got to have done more jobs like that, and to the point where he's killed people.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, I'll give it that we don't know everything, so it's possible. But it just seems like they want characters to seem really dangerous, but then when they show their stories, they want you to sympathize with them, so they don't make them actually dangerous. They make them sort of, basically good people who get in situations where they have to do something bad.
Except Ana Lucia.
Well, okay. You're right.
I mean, we had a little bit of sympathy for her, but I mean, she just killed the guy.
I feel like they expected us to sympathize with her. I'll never sympathize with her on that one.
She was pregnant.
It just doesn't. Yeah, sorry, bitch. That doesn't cut it for me.
An eye for an eye. Haven't you ever read the Bible?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, your dad abuses your mom and whatever. Okay, you know this hitman's gonna kill the guy, so you beat him up so he won't, and his family doesn't have to watch him get killed. Like, okay, but
so what's the difference? So basically, you don't sympathize because you blame her for being in the situation.
I do.
Okay.
I blame her.
But then, how do you sympathize with Kate for killing the man that's abusing her mother when her mother is putting herself in that situation? And there's a lot of other alternatives to resolving that specific situation than killing the guy.
Yeah.
But do you not factor that in to your sympathy quotient? I mean, she could have done a lot of other things. Killing the guy should have been the last straw. I mean, and that's the thing, it was her mother's choice to be in that relationship.
Yeah. True.
And it's actually, Kate, I mean, obviously Kate is involved because it's her mother, but in the strictest sense, it's not even her concern. It's not about her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing with Ana Lucia is like, she was, I mean, whether she knew she was pregnant or not, I can see why she was upset. You know what I mean? That, this guy killed her baby. That shot her. And I can understand why she wanted revenge.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a similar thing why everyone else, I mean, not the Jen thing, because that was specific, but basically, it's like you hurt someone I love, and now I'm going to hurt you type thing. I think that's what went through Kate's head, and that's what went through Ana Lucia's head.
Yeah.
So to me, they're similar. I mean, the Jen thing was a little bit different because he was sort of helping the guy.
Right.
As he scared his daughter and wife and beat him up. But I don't think Ana Lucia is totally without the need for sympathy or whatever. But to me, the big difference is that it was sort of already done type thing. Like, it wasn't like an ongoing pain for her. Well, I guess it was emotionally, but the mother was constantly being abused this whole time.
Yeah,
and it was like, okay, Kate wanted to put an end to it. Whereas Ana Lucia's travesty was a specific time that had already passed, and so it was sort of like after the fact she comes to get this guy.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing. Like, killing him is not going to change anything.
Yeah.
Killing the guy is going to stop the abuse.
Yeah.
So there's at least a point to it besides pure revenge.
Yeah.
So I guess, and the fact that she, I mean, yeah, you could blame the mom, but the mom didn't kill him. So that's, that's why if the mom killed the guy, then I would blame her more than I blame Kate, because Kate couldn't make her mom leave him.
Yeah, but it's not Kate's place to really kill somebody.
No, I agree. It's wrong. I just feel it's lesser. It's a lesser wrong.
Well, I think another thing that Ana Lucia, I'm just speculating because it's something I would think if I was in the situation, was that if she turns the guy in, he's gonna get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And she's probably thinking he's not gonna get what she would call justice.
Right.
or she's not going to get justice. He's not going to get the right punishment.
Yeah.
I mean, the most he would get to a couple of years in jail or something like that.
Right. Well, he didn't really commit a crime that warrants the death penalty, I don't think.
What do you mean? Killing somebody?
Yeah, well, he didn't know. He shot her, but, I mean, she had a bulletproof vest on. He didn't kill her. You know?
Yeah, he killed her baby, though.
Yeah, but
believe me, that would have been punishable. That would have been in court somehow.
Yeah, but it depends on. Yeah, I guess just because I don't consider that as bad as just killing a cop straight out. Like if you just shoot at a cop and you don't know they're pregnant, and then that shooting results in the baby dying, I think that's...
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, there's involuntary manslaughter. There's all these things. I mean, just because you don't know a situation doesn't mean you're not punishable for it.
No, I agree, but I think it makes it a lesser crime than just killing the cop outright.
What do you mean? Oh, the fact that she didn't die makes it a lesser crime.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, well... I mean, somebody died.
Yeah, well.
I mean, I think that's the point, is that he still killed. I mean, I don't know what the law says about unborn babies, but, I mean, I don't know if it goes by how developed it is or what, but,
yeah.
Nevertheless, even if he didn't know she was pregnant, he still shot at a cop. Well, he shot a cop.
Yeah.
With the intent to kill. I mean, that's what the court would say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, he just wouldn't get probably a justifiable sentence in her eyes,
right?
Because the legal system is screwed up,
right? But I think the death penalty is a little extreme, because I mean, for a pure like cold-blooded murder, okay, maybe, but that's just clearly not what it was. You know, I mean, yeah. You have to actually kill someone with like foreknowledge to get that sort of sentence. Anyway, this is going on for too long. This isn't even about Ana Lucia. So
it isn't? Oh,
I think we should move on from that subject.
Anyway, I guess since I don't have a lot to talk about in this episode, I'm going to talk about something else.
Yeah. Well, I see your point. I just yeah. I mean, if we had longer, I'd explain more why I don't sympathize with her.
Oh, please don't.
But I don't think it's worth doing. Okay.
That's cool.
So the next thing I want to mention is basically about the same stuff. In Jin's flashback, Sun's father tells him to deliver the message that he's displeased, right? I guess Jin is just supposed to know that that's code for kill the guy, but I don't understand why he was supposed to know that. Like,
I think he was asleep that day in management training.
Yeah, like, did they... I don't understand. And then he gets mad at him for not knowing, and it's like, that's what you told me to do. Like, I'm supposed to know that you're speaking in code? I mean, it just seemed like a really weird situation where they expected him to know code that he didn't know, and then they get mad at him when he didn't know it, and he did exactly what he was told. Like, I don't know. It just seemed very ridiculous that he would tell him something in code without him actually knowing the code. So, anyway.
Yeah, well, I think the real problem was that the guy, Han, who, you know, he was supposed to deliver the code to, didn't understand how serious that message was. Because, you know, Jin comes and says, you know, Mr. Pike, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah, Pike.
Wants to let you know he's very displeased. And he gets it. Han is like, oh, okay, tell him I won't let him down again, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So but then of course he didn't like open the factory or whatever he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it's sort of Jin's fault because he didn't make it explicit, but he didn't know to do that.
Yeah.
But it's really sort of Han's fault for not understanding that Pike was very serious about that. So I mean, basically, I'm saying if Han would have understood that Pike wasn't playing around, then Pike would have opened the factory the next day, and Jin wouldn't have got in trouble.
Okay, all right.
That's one level. The other level is, I think, plot-wise, writing-wise, it's more interesting because you don't really know. Because I mean, there's so much more going on now. Because Pike says, "I'm very displeased," and then then Jin gets to go deliver this message and not really understand, and then go back and get yelled at, and then have to go back and save this guy. Versus like Pike saying, "Tell him I'm very displeased," which means that I'll kill you if you don't do.
Right.
Then the whole shroud is like has been lifted about what's really going on here.
Yeah.
So in terms of writing, it's better this way. But I agree. Realistically, he there's no way he would have known. He should have known that's what the message was supposed to mean.
Right. Either that or he should have known.
Well, yeah, either that or the opposite of what I said. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Tiny thing. Yeah. About the watch delivery. I think it's odd that he sends him to be a watch delivery boy.
When his degree is in wallet delivery.
Well, it just seems like such a silly errand to send your daughter's husband on. It doesn't seem like the sort of errand that requires, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his job really was. I mean, we don't see very much.
He does whatever Pike tells him.
Yeah, okay.
I think the watch thing when that line came up, I just sort of thought they were like, there's a couple of things it could be like, he's delivering watches to these people, but he's also going to be delivering a specific message. Like, here's a nice thank you gift for obeying Pike the last whatever years or whatever. I just want to let you know to continue. You know what I mean? Like, it was sort of one of those kind of gifts that it's like a nice thing that sort of scares you because the person who's giving it to you isn't a nice person.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking it was something like that, or that, or maybe the watches were for specific people that again were loyal or whatever, but without the malice, without the malicious intent behind it. So,
right.
Maybe we'll find out more about the watches. I hope not, because then that means more Jin and Sun BS.
Oh, but we will have more.
We will.
Okay, so let's see. So this is the episode where, we already talked about it. So they think Jin burns the raft, but in fact it's Walt, right?
Oh, Walty.
And so I wanted to bring up a couple things related to that. Okay. First of all, Michael's sitting there towards the end, like all frustrated and.
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say.
And then Walt comes up and he's all mad, and I forgot exactly how it played out, but eventually he's like, all right, well, we'll just build another one, and then Walt's like. Can I help? Can I help? It's like, you little bastard.
Yeah.
You had a little tender moment when you burned it. Like, you're the reason.
It was weird. That whole that thing was weird. Okay, Locke was. I mean, God damn it. Walt was surprised that Michael wanted to build another boat, but it also, to me, that also seemed like a test. Like, he was like, I don't want, Walt's like, I don't want to leave the island. I'll burn the boat. We won't have to leave. Mm-hmm. And then he saw that his dad was dedicated to leaving. It was like, well, I guess we should leave. I don't know. It was really weird that he would sort of change his mind but then when he said, "Can I help?" It was sort of like he's saying he wants to help, but he doesn't think it'll ever happen. So maybe, if Walt has premonitions of the future at all or whatever, maybe he knew that they were never really going to get off the island, that he might as well just help them.
Yeah, but if he really did, then he would see that they did get off the island.
Well, they didn't. I mean, they got off the island. They didn't get rescued, though. Is what I mean. They got off the island for like a day, and they went back to the island.
Oh! I meant in season 2 when they sail away at the end.
Yeah, me too. Oh, that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the beginning of season 2.
No.
But yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they really don't get away.
Okay.
Or maybe, whatever. There's a lot of speculation there.
Indeed.
I thought, okay, that's interesting, but I just want to quickly mention Michael's like bitching that his boat's burned. He goes, He goes, "Oh, look, it burned this. Oh no, it burned that. There's nothing is salvageable. It's all ruined." And then the next episode, he's like, "Yeah, we were able to save this. We were able to save that." Like,
yeah. Now we don't have to do trial and error, just trial.
Yeah, just trial. But specifically, like, there was parts that he in the next episode that he says he was able to save, and I'm like, well, before you said it was all burned.
He said it's like a complete total loss.
A complete total loss. And now it's like, yeah, we saved this and we got that.
Yeah, that's just the writers like saying what they want to say for the time.
That's all for the drama, baby.
Like they want it to feel like a total loss, so they say, "Oh, it's a total loss. Everything's gone." Then the next episode, they want it to be hopeful. So it's, "Oh no big deal. We saved most of it."
Oh.
In fact, I'm glad they burned it. It's better in the long run.
I know, that's the thing. It's like it's better in the long run.
Oh God. Yeah, I know. That was. Oh God.
Burn some extra calories. A little time in the sun. So, okay, Walt and this burning of the raft.
Please.
Now, what do you got for me?
Okay, well, the first thing I want to bring up is, how did Locke know that Walt burned the raft? Intuition? The island? Did he see him? He never really says.
Yeah.
So, I really wonder how he knew, and no one else knew.
I don't think he saw him because I don't.
Okay. I agree, but I don't know why.
If it's intuition via the island.
Okay.
I think Locke sort of thought about... I mean, if you think about logically who would want to burn the boat, there's a lot of people who get crossed off that list pretty quickly. And I think that combined with the fact that maybe he neither knows or doesn't think that the others were around, or that the others would care to do that or something. Because, I mean, from this point, all they know is Ethan, and he's dead.
Right.
So I don't think, even though he has that whole pretty good speech about they're not alone on the island, there's other people out there who try to hurt them, I don't think he thinks they're really a threat.
Yeah.
So maybe they got crossed off his list, and basically it's like who would want to stay on the island, and I think Walt's on that list. So it could have been just deductive reasoning, and he just had a good hunch, or it could have been. I mean, I love Locke having this mystical powers, but it's like it's got to stop somewhere.
Oh yeah, I agree. But let's say he. Okay, so he knows Walt did it, but so why does he throw everybody off this trail or make everybody think the others did it? Why doesn't he want to tell people that Walt did it?
I would say that, well, there's a lot of reasons.
I mean, I know Locke's crazy, like he picks what he wants to tell people and stuff, but
yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. It could be anything from, like, he wants, to get on Walt's good side. Not that he's on his bad side, but, it could be something like that. It could be something like that. Like, he just wants Walt to feel comfortable or something. I don't really know. I mean, what would be gained by having people know Walt did it? I mean, I don't think he really gains anything. It just puts Walt in a bad position on the island,
Yeah.
And basically, he just Locke decides to blame someone who sort of isn't there to defend themselves, and who realistically could have done it. So, I don't know. I can't really think of a great reason why he didn't. I think it's not so much of why did he tell people. It's why would he tell people.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. He's not big on telling people anything. So
yeah,
I'm willing to accept it. I don't know. If it were me, I'd want people to know who burned it so they could watch it.
And maybe Locke can't prove it. I mean,
yeah.
If Walt says I didn't, and Walt says, I'm sorry, if Locke says he didn't, sorry. if Walt says he didn't and Locke says he did, then it's like who's
right.
And then Michael's gonna say, "How do you know my boy did it?"
Yeah, if he tells Michael, it's gonna be like.
And then Locke is gonna be like, the island told me he did it, and it's gonna be like, well, old man, you're crazy.
Michael's not gonna take that explanation anyway, from Locke especially.
Yeah.
So. First you teach him how to throw knives, and then you accuse him of burning a raft. I've had enough of you.
I've had enough of you, sir. I'm leaving this island.
All right. So one more thing I wanted to mention is that this episode ends with another awful montage with musical accompaniments.
Can I say one thing?
Please.
Worst ending ever. Seriously. Worst ending ever. It's got Hurley listening to his music,
right?
Which is already crappy that we're listening to what he's listening to.
Yeah.
And then you get Sun traipsing in the tropical waters. She's got her robe around her, her little towel around her, covering her feminine morsels. And then she decides, I'm free. She lets the towel flutter in the wind. And she is woman reborn. Like, I just hate that. Like, it was very sappy. It was very. I mean, in terms of the arc of her character for this episode, it's like, okay, you gotta have that in there.
Yeah.
Because she's free, she's unencumbered by the secret, so that she can speak English and all that stuff. So I get it, writers. I get it.
Yeah.
But we don't need to see it.
Right.
That's the kind of thing they could say for the diary. Like, I was looking for my brother today, and then I saw Sun on the beach in her bikini.
She looked like a woman reborn.
She looked like a woman reborn. Yeah, no, save it for the diary, please.
And then I said, have you seen my brother?
And she said, you don't have a brother. And I said, you're right.
Your brother's dead. We buried him. Don't you remember?
For people who are confused, we're referencing the ABC Diary. That's sort of pseudo canon on the show, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's oh god.
And it's badly written and doesn't make a lot of sense. And the whole plot of the second diary writer, because there's been two, the plot of the second one was really bad.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, my brother's in the hatch. I know they have him in the hatch. And every time I tell people he's in the hatch, people say, you're crazy.
Right.
And I said, hey, Jack, look at this shirt. It's my brother's shirt. How could he have a shirt? And Jack said, just breathe. Remember, you don't have a brother. We buried him. And then I said, oh, you're right. You want some fish?
Yeah. And then he goes on about, like, we switched seats, and that's why he saved my life. And,
oh, I forgot about that.
And it's like, you dumb bat. Why did you forget that? Like,
so now the writer has to pay it forward, and this is like so crappy and sappy and.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous and it's nonsense, and it's just, oh god.
That's the kind of story you write when you want to be like interesting, like. Ooh, man, like, they switched seats. Wow, can you imagine, like...
Yeah.
It seems grandiose when it's really just pedestrian.
Yeah. Well, and, like, all the forums and stuff were coming up with all sorts of theories about who this guy is and why Henry Gale was his brother, and it was all worthless, because he was just wrong.
He was wrong.
He just forgot. And why did he even think he was in the hatch? That's just so bizarre. He buries his brother, and then all of a sudden he gets this idea. Oh god. Anyway. Oh man. So I think even though it is crappy and whatever, like Hurley's thing, like I like it. I like it better than just ending with the music, because at least it just cuts off and like stops. I don't know because that.
Oh
music,
man, I'm out of batteries.
That music they use is just. Oh man. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So bad. When you're woman and you're. It's like.
I just didn't like it. Bad ending. Bad ending.
Yeah, it was a bad ending. It was a really bad ending.
You know what's a good ending?
Moving to the next episode.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
All right.
Episode 18, Numbers, one of the most interesting and hilarious episodes ever. Michael begins building a new raft. he tells Jack that the chances of them being found while they're on the raft will be increased if they can send out a distress signal. With the transceiver needing new batteries, Hurley remembers Saeed mentioning that the Frenchwoman had batteries. He suggests that they try and find her. While searching for Rousseau's lair, Hurley discovers that the island may be linked to a secret from his own past.
Okay, it wasn't while he was searching, but okay.
Huh?
It wasn't while he was searching, but okay. He saw the numbers way before they left.
Well, I think they mean because they didn't know where Rousseau's lair was, and they were trying to use the maps to figure that out, and that's really why he was looking at the maps in the first place.
Okay.
So not actively searching, like looking for it, but like pre-planning the search.
Yeah, it makes it sound like it was while he was gone, but okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, this episode, I don't know if it was just my mood when I was watching it again or what. Almost every scene had like 15 funny things. I was just laughing my butt off in this whole thing. Like in the very beginning, like I gotta pull up the transcript.
Please.
In the very beginning, Michael is saying, hey, if we have a transceiver, we can get off, we can have a better chance of, being rescued.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I gotta find the spot. Oh yeah, so Michael goes, we could use something to send out a distress call to any ships that might be close, like an SOS. And then Jack gets really indignant for no reason and goes, okay, well look, I'll ask Saeed, but it's really, I mean, maybe it was just me, but his response came off very like indignant.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene?
No.
Okay. Well, it was very weird. I mean, Michael's basically said, hey, I could, it'd be great if we could send a distress call. And then Jack's like, okay, look, well, I guess I'll have to go ask Saeed, but there's no guarantee, It was really weird. Just watch it again and see that I'm right.
Okay.
Anyway.
No, I believe you. I don't remember that part.
It was just weird.
That all seemed like exposition to me. I was barely paying attention.
Oh, wow. Well, that's the difference between you and me.
I guess.
One of them. There's a lot to talk about from Hurley. I'm trying to see if there's any little things I can bring up quickly and then get into the meat.
Oh, I did have something to bring up about that early stuff. Why did Saeed not want to go back to Danielle's place? I mean, it just seemed like a manufactured thing to generate conflict. Like, I don't buy that he would be like, absolutely not. Like, I don't understand why he would be so against that.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense for him to do that. And like considering how their little like interchange ended, like
well, the whole thing, like when Jack says, okay, well, look, I'll ask Saeed, but I mean, even if he can make something like that, he's not going to have anything to power it with. I mean, that was very direct, because the next thing is Hurley saying, didn't Saeed say the crazy Frenchwoman had batteries? I mean, it was basically saying, Michael's like, okay, I need this. And Jack's like, okay, but we're going to need this.
Right.
And it's basically, obviously, setting up the trek to get the batteries.
Right.
And you got to wonder, what was the whole point? Like, I mean, I know what the ostensible point is, to get the transceiver, blah, blah. But...
And for Hurley, it's a personal journey to find out why she wrote the number.
Yeah, I mean, is that the big point? Is to get Hurley on this journey and introduce the numbers and see if she has any. I mean, I guess that's the only real thing that happens.
That's the big point, and the side benefit is the thing which enables him to track the other's boat in the season finale, and that's why Walt gets captured. So
yeah.
So it does have some side effects besides just having Hurley go on the journey and introduce new numbers. But I think it serves a few purposes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Oh, my turn. Okay, so what's the deal with the numbers?
Well,
I know that's a vague question.
I have a very specific answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear it.
I know exactly what the numbers are.
Okay.
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
No, I said, what is the deal with the numbers?
Yeah, and I said I know exactly what they are.
Okay.
And I just told you what they are.
I see.
I needed to give the numbers some more time to ruminate in my head, because this episode, there's a couple of things we find out about the numbers and when people first heard them and stuff, and I was trying to piece it all together. Like, I don't think, the writer said we'll never really know what the numbers are or whatever. But I was trying to give them some sort of real world context, and maybe I can't. I don't think I'll be able to, sort of grasp where they came from. But I'm just trying to understand their purpose, and not that I have. But do we want to jump into the numbers? There's a lot of pre-numbers stuff to talk about.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. Let me see. I don't have a lot that isn't related to the numbers.
Okay,
So.
well, I got a couple little things.
Okay.
So, one, I just wanted to point out that Hurley is a very bad liar.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, where are you going, man? Oh, nowhere. I'm not going anywhere. My hiking boots? Oh, I just got my hiking boots on because they feel comfortable. Oh, what's all this water? Oh, I just get dehydrated. It's like, God, man. I don't know if he's a bad actor or if the writing was just bad, but that was crappy.
Well, no, I think the writing was supposed to illustrate that he's covering it up really badly.
Yeah, but that's crappy.
I mean, I think that was I think it was intentional. But yeah,
I think
no,
it was
if you say
intentional,
it's crappy,
obviously,
because
it was intentional. Obviously, it was written like that, but it just seemed like the acting came off made it even worse.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's one thing to be a bad liar; it's another thing to be a bad liar.
Okay, yeah. You made a good point.
The other little thing is, oh God, I wrote my note and I don't even know what this means. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, another little thing I thought was interesting.
Wow. Can you just read it? I gotta know.
Well, I wrote down, you worried about me? And then, so what if I am? Let me see who said that.
That was Saeed and Shannon.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. I mean, I sort of made the joke out of it because I thought the scene was weird. But it's like, you worried about me? And then she goes, so what if I am? And then I'm thinking he's going to say, so then I love you. Like, it just was weird. This was a weird exchange to me.
Yeah.
Because he looks at her like, Anyway.
Yeah.
Very minor. Another couple things I wanted to point out was that Tito, Hurley's grandfather, had a pacemaker put in 4 years ago.
Nice.
Interesting. Maybe he was there when Locke was in the hospital too with his little leg injury. I don't know. We'll see. And 8 people died in the sneaker factory fire.
Oh, good.
I thought that was really interesting. That scene with Hurley's accountant.
Oh man,
I love that guy.
Yeah, that scene is fantastic.
He was crazy. I just love the way his voice and he's just a weird guy.
Yeah,
he was so weird. The Simpsons had a character like that. I don't remember his name, but very similar. Anyway, I thought it was funny. I'm like when Locke asks Claire if she's doing anything, and she's like, he's like, can you hold a saw? And she's like, I'm pregnant. It's like, well, can you hold it in your hand? Yeah. Can you move your arm? Yeah. It's like, okay. Anyway, I thought it was so. Anyway, she ends up obviously helping him build the crib.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess first of all, one question is, how does Locke know it's her birthday? Or did he just say happy birthday after the fact? Was he building that crib for her anyway?
Yeah, I think so.
And he just said happy birthday? I don't know. I think it could go either way.
I think it just happened to be her birthday.
I think it could go either way. Because Locke has a penchant for knowing stuff he really shouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but That just seems too trivial. But yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just assume, because she says, like, it's my birthday, and he's like, why didn't you tell anybody? I guess he doesn't, I guess he could, I assumed he just didn't know.
Yeah, because he doesn't, and she's like, it's my birthday, and he didn't say, like, oh, really? He was like, why didn't you tell anyone?
Yeah.
Because he already knew she didn't tell anyone, but he already knew it was her birthday.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it could go either way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird coincidence that he would finish building this thing on her birthday specifically.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. I don't know.
I thought it was funny that she couldn't tell it was a crib.
Yeah, well.
I'm like, if it looks like a crib, talks like a crib, smells like a crib. Guess what, Claire?
It's a boar
crib.
trap.
It's a what? Bear trap?
Boar trap.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Is this a trap? Oh, Claire.
Yeah. Well, she's not exactly the fastest watch in the basket. That's a bad expression.
Yeah, because you don't want to watch to be fast.
In a basket either.
Well, basket's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I believe that she wouldn't figure it out. That she's just a little loopy.
Another thing I thought was funny, not really funny, but I laughed anyway. Like, Son asks Kate, do you think Jen will leave when the raft sails? And Kate's like, I don't know. And I'm thinking, yeah, she didn't ask. She knows you don't know. You can't read the future. Like, I hate that response that they give in movies and TV shows sometimes. Like, do you think this? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know you don't know. That wasn't what my question was.
Oh.
My question was, do you think he will? Not do you know if he will.
Yeah.
I get the point. But anyway.
I know. I would say that too, though. Because it's like,
well,
I don't
as good as
know. Even though I don't know, I'm going to say it because I don't know how else to respond. I don't know. Ooh,
so let's talk about Hurley. All right?
Please.
I guess one of the things to mention in terms of his backstory, he says, when he's being interviewed, that he put his family through a lot recently.
Right.
So I guess that's supposed to obviously refer to the mental institution.
Yeah. I was looking on the forums, and everybody seemed to interpret it that way, and that's what I thought too. So,
what exactly does that mean?
Well, I wanted to mention just as a quick side note to that point. This episode makes it clear that. Because even if that's not what he's referring to, he was clearly in the institution before he won the lottery.
Yes.
Because they show what happens after he wins the lottery.
Yeah.
And it doesn't include him, it ends with him going to Australia. So that means he didn't have money when he was in the institution, which means that Libby couldn't have been there after his money, which is what a lot of people's theory was. So,
that's stupid! That she was in there after his money?
Yeah.
Oh, that's stupid.
A lot of people said that. So.
No. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'll give it a bit for the doubt and say maybe after Hurley won the lotto and all the bad stuff happened, he went crazy again, or he checked himself back in, and that's when all the stuff with Libby happened, or, that whole time frame. I mean, I'll say that. We don't know that for sure. He could have gone back, but I think that's unlikely.
Yeah.
But no, that's a horrible theory. She was after his money. Oh, that's crappy.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people, I've read, they think she's some kind of like Black Widow or something. She, marries people and kills them. And that's what happened with her husband, when she's talking to Desmond, her husband died, she says, and he had this boat or whatever. They're like, she killed him and she got his money, and that's what she's doing with her.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, there's some evidence for that, I guess. I think it's bad if it's true, but I guess there's some evidence for that. I can buy it. She was a little strangely into Hurley on the island. Now, why she would, to me, she would really only be interested in Hurley, still on the island if she thought she was going to, leave. Because then, if she's after his money, why give him all that attention unless she thinks they're going to be rescued at some point?
Well, yeah.
But anyway, that's a okay theory. I mean, like I said, it's more type of the theory that I hate. I don't want it to be true.
Right.
It's not that great. But in terms of, there is some evidence to support it, I guess, with her husband, and then, so whatever.
But the main thing I want to point out was that she couldn't have known that when she was at the institution because that was pre-lottery. So, so she wouldn't have been after his money then. Maybe she saw him then, and then saw him on the news, and then decided to go after him on the island or whatever. But that wasn't why she was at the institution, which is what people were saying. So,
well, maybe she knew he was going to win.
Ooh, okay. Well, maybe she's a psychic.
Well, maybe they're all psychic.
Oh, that's the secret of Lost. Everyone's psychic.
Secret. Everyone's psychic. Except for Charlie.
Oh, sorry, Charlie. You're not psychic.
No, you're just silly.
Oh. Okay, so, yeah, that's...
So, I mean, my question really was...
oh, right, I'm sorry.
What got Hurley in the mental institution in the first place?
Good point. We haven't learned that yet. I'm assuming that we'll get something about that in the future. I really don't know.
I mean, he never really seemed crazy.
No, he doesn't.
I like to think that it was what happened with the numbers that sent him over the edge. With all the bad luck and stuff. I could see,
But he goes to the mental institution after he wins the lottery, and they already know him. So
I understand that.
He was there before he won the lottery. So
okay, that you just told me something I knew. I understand that. My point was, I like the idea that that's what sent him to that could have been something that sent him to a mental institution. Because not that he was specifically crazy or unbalanced or anything like that, but that all this bad stuff was happening because of the fact he used the numbers and won the lottery, and he wanted to sort of isolate himself from the regular population, because bad stuff was happening all around him, type thing. So, I mean, I'm just saying I like the idea that that's something that could have put him in the mental institution, was the crazy stuff that was happening. Because he doesn't seem crazy naturally, He doesn't seem like there's anything was wrong with him to be sent there. So, that was what my point was. I know in terms of the show how it happened, but I was saying I like the idea that could have been something that sent him there.
Oh, okay. So you're not saying you think that's it. You're saying you'd like that to be it.
Yeah, I'm saying I would like that to be it, because that's a plausible thing. People are dying all around you and all these weird accidents. That was something that would make you go to a mental institution.
Right. Well, if I were him, I'd crash on an island.
Oh.
So.
Well, I guess you're Hurley then.
Yeah, it seemed to work. Just want to mention, bad stuff doesn't happen all around him anymore. So
I know. Look at that. It's all good all the time on the island.
I agree. I like that better. It's just the story makes it clear that's not it. So I don't know.
Let's hope the writers didn't make a mistake.
Yeah, I know. If they do it later where he's in the institution, he's like, I have all this money and I'm in an institution, I'll be really disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already I was listening to another podcast the other day, and I heard Desmond describe what happened when he came to the island, and it wasn't what was in the finale. So anyway, I've already. Oh God. Anyway.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, if we get to season 2, we can talk about it. But what he says happens is not what they depicted. So anyway, I mean, it's in the neighborhood, but a lot of details are different.
Oh wow.
So yeah. Anyway.
Maybe he couldn't remember.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know.
He just needs to breathe.
He had a flashback, so I assume that's his memory, although we never know.
One can never tell.
So,
you got something to go on, or I got some stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I have lots of stuff about the numbers. I mean, I want to discuss the numbers specifically, how they work, what they do, etc. Do you have...
I got some. I'm still on the pre-number stuff.
Okay.
It's about the numbers, but not specifically.
Okay, well,
I think that's going to be a detailed That's going to be a conversation filled with a lot of random theory.
Okay.
I just want to point out some things like when he goes to tell Lenny that he used the numbers. Lenny says you open the box. Mm-hmm. You have to get far away from the numbers.
Right.
And I'm thinking, the island sort of provided him that ability to get far away from the numbers, although...
In a sense.
The island is where the numbers originated, apparently.
True.
But I thought that was interesting that Lenny said you opened the box.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting thing to say.
I agree.
And the fact that Lenny seemed, I guess not catatonic, but in a trance-like state, repeating the numbers over and over and over and over, and that's all he said all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and so he was obviously, he could obviously interact with people, and he was aware of other people talking to him and stuff, but he was just so transfixed with the numbers, that's all he would say.
Right.
But once Hurley points out that he used them, it just totally changes everything.
Yeah.
So it's weird that, this phrase, these numbers that's so meaningful to Lenny, that he would just like say them all the time,
right,
around people who could listen to him and could use them and could do whatever. And you would think with these numbers being somewhat evil or seemingly evil, that he wouldn't want to sort of put that information out there in any respect. That he would actually I mean, if the numbers are evil or whatever, I wouldn't want to be repeating them all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool in terms of the show, but in real life, I wouldn't want to even remember those numbers. I wouldn't want anyone to ever hear those numbers, so that it's not out there at all.
Right.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
I agree. I mean, he becomes like totally coherent and aware, and he just completely snaps out of the trance.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you assume he just can't do that, but he can in the right circumstances, I guess. And he does sort of work himself into a frenzy, but he's very coherent for a little bit there. And that open the box line, I think someone asked at the Comic-Con, they asked about that line. They asked if it was a reference to Pandora's box.
God.
And of course they didn't really answer. They didn't really say anything. But it's definitely been brought up, and I don't know. I mean, I could buy that it's just like a line to sound cool and that it doesn't really mean anything important. Or I could buy the other theory where it really is some kind of like crazy thing that he's caused to happen. But if that's the case, other people have used them too. So shouldn't the box already be open? I mean, why?
I mean, Sam Toomey used the numbers. Okay. I love how you ask questions and then I have no idea, and then 2 seconds later I have 5 theories.
You're a really fast theory.
I can generate theories very fast.
Yeah.
So one is the idea that Hurley opened the box because maybe the numbers was. I mean, how many times were the numbers used? Was it just Sam and Hurley?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Are we supposed to think Lenny used them too, or did he just go crazy? Like, why?
He just heard the numbers. I don't think Lenny ever used them. He heard them with Sam when they were at the listening station.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, maybe the numbers, if they're used like 4 times or something, then the box is open, and Hurley was the 4th time.
Okay.
So that's one theory, that it wasn't open because of Hurley specific. I mean, it was specifically because he used them a number of times.
Right.
The other theory is that the box was opened at some point, and when Sam killed himself, the box closed.
Okay.
Okay. So whoever uses the numbers, the box is open as long as that person is alive.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess that's all I got right now.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So anyway, I do love the box thing. And I'm wondering, okay, the box has been opened. What does that mean in terms of all the weird stuff that's been going on? Did the plane crash have to do with the box, with the numbers being used?
Mm-hmm.
Would the plane have crashed if Hurley didn't use the numbers? And,
right.
All that stuff. You gotta ask those questions. I mean, I would sort of say yes, but...
Right.
But the fact that he said he thinks he caused the plane to crash, I think may be interesting, and maybe he sort of did in some sort of way. Like... I mean, I don't really buy this, but like, if Hurley hadn't used the numbers, he wouldn't have been on the plane, because he wouldn't have been in Australia trying to figure out what the numbers were about.
Yeah.
And if bad stuff happens to people around Hurley, i.e. the plane crashing, then if he didn't use the numbers, he wouldn't have been near the plane when it crashed. So, I mean, I hate to think that the entire show and series of events would be drastically different from that little thing that Hurley did, but maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I would buy it. I mean, little things having big consequences. I think that's something that would be in line with stuff they've had before.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have to wonder. See, this is getting into numbers. Do I need to? Do you have more like not so numbers heavy stuff?
I think I'm done with my. I mean, I did want to mention that Sam, Toomey, and Lenny heard the number 16 years ago, and I'm assuming that was when Rousseau and her team heard it.
Yeah.
They heard the same transmission.
Right. I assume
and
that
maybe,
as well.
Maybe not at the same specific time.
Right.
But they heard the same original transmission.
Plus or minus months or something.
Yeah. Well, now I want to get into the real numbers with the lead-in question. What was the purpose of the transmission?
Good. That's a great question. It's a great question. I mean, besides that, who started the transmission?
Yeah. Answer my question first.
And then why? Well, I mean, I think they're related. If I can get it, who started the transmission, then I can think about what their motivations might have been. With just a general, I mean, who could it be? Dharma or the others, right?
That's pretty much it.
That's the only candidates we have now, at least.
Yeah.
So, let's see. If it were Dharma, why would they do that? I have no idea. I don't understand. I mean, this episode makes it clear that the numbers came from the island originally.
Yeah.
I wonder if were they created on the island? I mean, they're like imprinted on the hatch, and they're being transmitted. Like, were they discovered on the island, or is this like a Dharma thing that they already knew about them and they just use them in general? Like, if they had a station somewhere else, they'd still use them, or is it specific to the island?
I feel like it's specific to the island. I was just trying to think about why would someone send a transmission out with numbers, and with that sort of being the only message in the transmission is those 6 numbers.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, it could be some sort of code, like, because since it is imprinted on the hatch, something like it was like whoever gets the message and knows what the message means, it basically means that something interesting is going on in that hatch, or that hatch is like basically drawing attention to that hatch.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe it's some sort of code, like when you say those numbers, which is the ID for that hatch, that means something. That means that I don't know what it means, but just the idea that the message, the transmission, was signaling someone to pay attention to the hatch.
Right. And it's the computer code too, so that ties it to the hatch even more so.
Exactly. And you got to wonder if it's the computer code just because that's what's on the hatch.
So you would think that the other hatches, say the Pearl or any of the other hatches, you would say they don't have the numbers on them.
I don't think they have the numbers on them.
This isn't just like a Dharma factory standard imprint. This is like specifically for this hatch, and they use the numbers for the code. Is it tied to the magnetic thing in some way?
I think it might be. I think the numbers also might be connected to remote viewing. As a lot of those people out there who have heard the theories about Walt and the others being able to remote view, which is a pseudoscience at best, that the military spent like 30 years and millions of dollars researching, because it did give some results. From what I know about remote viewing, basically, your target, basically it's the idea of being able to see in and around a location that you are specifically not at, And one of the basic way to do that is you're giving a series of numbers, and I think or letters that are usually randomly generated, and I don't know how it works, but somehow you use that code to figure out what your target is and figure out the details of that target. So it's the idea that these numbers on the hatch means that a remote viewer somewhere could see what's going on in and around that hatch because using those numbers as their sort of focal point.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that may have something to do with it. If this remote viewing thing is going on, maybe Dharma isn't on the island, but since the numbers are sort of connected to that hatch, some remote viewer somewhere can still see what's going on in and around the hatch because they have this ability to remotely view.
And Saeed mentions that he thought they were coordinates.
Yeah, that's the other thing that you would do for a transmission, is to say, to give out a coordinate, and the person who picks it up, would know what that meant,
Right. So do the numbers get their power because they're from the island, or are they powerful independently and they just happen to be on the island because the island's a crazy place? You know what I mean? Like, which came first, the island or the numbers?
How crazy is the island, though? That's what you gotta wonder. Like, or I should say, okay, there's only so many crazy things that's happened on the island, and how many things could be explained by Dharma's presence, and how many things can't be explained by Dharma? Like Smokey, could that be a Dharma creation?
It could be.
Like Locke and all the mystical things that have happened with him, like, and other people, can that be explained by Dharma's presence, or is that seems like a more island-specific thing?
I agree, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a maybe.
Yeah, so it's like, how crazy is the island on its own, not factoring in Dharma things?
Well, that's the thing. Was Dharma there because it's crazy, or is it crazy because Dharma was there? It's a similar question.
The chicken and the egg.
Like, I felt like they were there because the island was crazy.
I feel like they were there because the island was crazy. The Well, I think there's two things. I think really they were there. I like to believe what the Swan video said, that they went to the island to do various types of research, and while there, they discovered some crazy stuff was going on the island.
Yeah,
I think that's. I sort of think that's what happened. They didn't like sort of find the island first and say, oh, this is crazy, let's go do research here. Like, I think they were legitimately trying to do research, and things just got weird.
Okay.
I still don't know what the purpose of the transmission is.
And who do you think? Do you think it was Dharma?
That sent out the transmission?
Or the others, yeah.
I think it was... I would want to think... It's hard because that long ago, Dharma should have been on the island.
Absolutely.
So I could picture, like, maybe, Dharma's on the island going pretty strong. All of their projects are up and running. They've got people down in the hatch being monitored and they don't know it, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some lone Dharma person, Rosinski maybe, or someone who wants out or something, broadcasts the signal with the hopes that someone who knows what the numbers mean is going to get it, and maybe some off island Dharma organization, Dharma related organization, like, would pick up this signal and say, oh no, 4, 8, 15, 16, 20, 30, 42, like, that means that that something's going on in this hatch that we need to find out,
Okay.
But I don't know. It's so weird. If they were, it's obviously, Saeed thought they were coordinates, but he quickly figured out that they shouldn't be because they don't seem to mean anything.
Right.
Like 4 what, 8 what, 15 what, like, there's 6 numbers, and if you want to give an accurate, you can give, like, X, Y, and Z axis coordinates. But then you would sort of have like 2 sets of those or something like that.
Better for the Earth, you'd probably want to use polar coordinates or spherical coordinates, I guess, because that more accurately represents the shape of the Earth. If you were really, spherical coordinates being essentially latitude and longitude.
Yeah, and it's like, this doesn't seem like latitude and longitude in any way.
Yeah, no. It's 6 numbers.
It's 6 numbers.
And they're all like specific. They're from between 0 and 50. They're all integers. And that's something that bothers me about them. I don't know if we can get into this yet, but
why not?
But I happen to, I don't know. I don't know how to say what I want to say, but just because of my personal disposition, it really sort of bothers me. Like these numbers, like they just happen to be available for playing lottery. I mean, there's so many numbers out there. And these 6 are available for playing lottery. Like, what if they were numbers in the hundreds or something, and you couldn't use them for the lottery? Like
yeah,
it just annoys me that you can do that. But besides that, like, is it chance that they won the lottery, or is the fact that Hurley played them? Is that what caused them to be?
I thought the exact same thing. I wondered, like, if Hurley didn't play the numbers, would those numbers have come up? And I don't think so. I think that the numbers were the numbers were the winning numbers that night because Hurley played them.
Okay, so him playing them causes some cosmic effect that results in those numbers rolling out of the thing.
Although, yeah, but then I want to try to tie that into the Sam Toomey incident. But I don't want to think that there would have been a different number of beans if Sam hadn't used those numbers to guess how many beans.
Well, that's what a lot of people brought up about the beans, because it's like, and they didn't mention how he used the numbers for the beans, and someone mentioned that if you just string them together.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. I wrote it out. 4,815,162,342.
Right.
That's a lot of beans.
Yeah, someone mentioned, someone actually did a calculation based on the size of a bean, and to have that many beans, you would need, I think they said something like a few rooms.
I could. Yeah, at first I thought it was 4 million, and I was like, well, 1 million beans is still a lot. 4 million beans is still a lot, but this is 4 billion. So, I mean, I guess you really can't just string them together.
And then someone said, oh, maybe he multiplied them, maybe he added them, or whatever.
I could see, but adding them shouldn't give you a big enough number.
Well, adding them, you get 108. As we know. Yeah, that isn't very big, but it's at least a number that could be in a jar.
Well, but she said the jar was like 3 or 4 or 5 feet tall. It was like a huge jar.
Okay.
It wasn't like a normal jar. It was like a big thing.
Yeah, okay. So I think if you multiply them, you get like 1 million, some like 4 million, or something in the single digit millions.
You get 7,418,880.
Thank you.
Which is a lot better than 4.8 billion.
Yeah, it is. Although I think it's still bigger.
It's still a lot. I mean, I wouldn't expect more than 100,000 beans in a big thing like that.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I just can't. I mean, million. Yeah. So, but I will chalk it up to the writers. They didn't explain how he used them, so he could have used them in any number of ways, and so because given those numbers, you can do all sorts of things with them. So. I guess we can...
but to a certain degree, you could only expect that he would do something logical. Like, he wouldn't do 4 times 16 times 42. Like, that just doesn't really make... I mean, he could, but, I mean, I would like to think he would do something fairly logical with the numbers.
Right. Well, I would like to think that, but the fact that they didn't say specifically leaves them room for him to have done a lot of things.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That could be more or less logical depending on, how logical they want to make it. I mean, if it were me, I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, if he didn't use them the way Hurley used them, did he really use them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean.
That's what I want to know. Like, what counts as using them?
Yeah, I mean, you can add and multiply those 6 numbers in various ways and get the same number using other numbers.
Right. Well, like 15 and 16, I'm about to get annoying. Warning, I'm about to get annoying.
Math student here, math student.
15 and 16, for instance, are relatively prime, and so that means you can take a linear combination of the two and get any integer whatsoever. So in a sense, every number is tied into to those numbers in a specific way. So so in that sense, like why? In that sense, you're always using it. And like if you go to the store and you buy 8 cans of soup and 15 boxes of rice, does that count as using them? Like, what do you have to do if you put it on a test? You have an answer that has.
I feel like the numbers have significance as a whole.
But is it like you have to use them in a game? I mean, because I know those numbers have come up at the same time in other contexts. I mean, it'd just be silly if they hadn't.
Yeah.
And so what counts as using them? Like I could see them being answers, say like on an elementary school math test or something, very easily. I'm sure they have been at some point.
I think if there was a elementary test that had 6 questions and the answers were 4, 8, 15, 16, 20, 42 in succession, then that's a scary test. Like I said, I feel like the numbers have significance as a whole, as a series, as that string.
Okay.
Not randomly, 16, 8, 15, 42. Like that, to me, I mean, you're still using the numbers, but I think in that order is when it's weird. Because if I'm not mistaken, Hurley's the numbers came out in that order.
Yeah, they did. I actually wanted to do a calculation for how likely it was that lottery numbers would be drawn in numerical order.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah, I gave up. But
yeah, I don't even know, because basically you'd have to. Oh God, I mean because you'd have to limit each spot, right, to anything, to whatever's above it.
Yeah, it's actually not an easy thing to count. I mean, if you really wanted to, if I really wanted to, I could do it, but I was trying to do it in my head, and I couldn't quite do it in my head. So
that would have been good information for the podcast.
So I gave up. Well, I'm sorry. You know what, guys? I'll work on it. I'll get it for the next one.
Yeah, no, it was weird because they came out in that order, which to me was creepy.
Right, very much. And the Powerball was 42 or whatever. I mean, that was just, it was too ridiculous. Yeah, because, I mean, every time I've seen a lottery drawing, they're never in order.
No.
Because it just generally isn't likely that they're going to be. Because basically every time you draw a number, if they have to be in order, you're limiting how many numbers you can draw after that.
Yeah.
Like if your first number was 49, it can't happen.
Yeah.
Or if your number was anything, 40, I guess 45 or above, or depending on how many numbers there are, it's impossible. So there's certain numbers that if you draw them first, it's impossible. And I mean, that's the thing. There's all sorts of ways that. So anyway, yeah, it's that makes it even more unlikely.
Well, I wanted to know, I mean, we should get off the numbers topic, but why are the numbers on the hatch?
Oh, yes, I have that question here specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems to me like just one of those contrived things to sort of end the episode on a wow.
It was very heavy-handed.
Yeah. It's like no characters are there.
No characters. It's like, hey, by the way, guess what?
Yeah. Yeah, like you... It's like, oh, this other thing that's going on? Yeah, it's related.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really strange.
So, yeah, why are they printed on the hatch? I mean, we thought, you seem to think they're tied directly to the Swan hatch. So, I mean, maybe that's the reason. Maybe,
I just had a thing in my head that exploded. That didn't sound good. And by thing, I mean idea.
Okay.
Maybe Rousseau wrote those numbers down on her little notes because she saw them on the hatch. But that doesn't make a lot of sense because the hatch was covered up. But maybe at some point she saw the numbers on the hatch.
Well, she's been there a long time, so I think she's been there during a time where the hatch wasn't covered. Or not covered, but active.
Yeah, definitely. Well, maybe. So I was just thinking maybe that's why she wrote the numbers. Besides it, she wrote the numbers because she heard them in the transmission.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
I forgot about that. Okay, never mind.
Oh, okay, wow, that just went bust really quick.
Yeah, like I said, it exploded. And my other little bit of question about this episode, I guess my last question, the little one, was a couple of them. Why was Leonard in the mental institution?
Ah, right.
Did the numbers make him go crazy? I guess that's a sensible reason.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, since he's just sitting there repeating them, which made me wonder why. Like, if he didn't use them, I don't see why he would go crazy because of them. I mean, just hearing a string of numbers, I don't feel like makes you go crazy.
Yeah, I think maybe he did do something with them at some point, and we just haven't found out yet.
Yeah. That was my thought, but yeah, I mean, obviously, they don't make it clear. So, it occurs to me that on the island, the numbers don't seem to have the sort of effect they had off the island. I don't see Hurley going through the same kinds of things. Is it just because he doesn't have relatives on the island, or, you know, it made me wonder. It made me wonder if somehow, like, I really wonder how they worked. Like in the flashback, it seems like wherever he goes, like, random stuff just happens, not to just like his relatives, but to like anybody who's around him. Mm-hmm. Like there's some sort of radius. And if you're within this far of Hurley, something bad might happen to you. But, I mean, bad things... What?
I mean, that was weird. Like, from what I remember, the only things that didn't happen to members of his family was the guy who jumped out the building.
Right.
And the guy who was on the ladder.
Right.
And nothing actually happened to him. It was just, Hurley was just freaking out.
Right.
But I just don't, even if there's a radius or whatever, I don't even see why the guy jumping out the window would be Hurley's thing. To me, that just doesn't seem like a bad luck thing unless the guy, like, now, if it was like people washing the windows and like, something broke and they fell, I can understand that. But a guy jumping out of a window isn't a bad luck thing. That's very forceful. You know what I mean? It's not a bad luck thing. Right. So to me, that doesn't even fit into the whole scheme of what they're trying to present.
Well, it's weird because there's a combination of bad luck and good luck. It's like, bad things happen, but he's worth even more. Like the thing burned, but the insurance money was a lot, and so it was actually a gain. And, I mean, like, those people died. They weren't related to him, like, biologically. I mean, they were just employees of something he owned. I mean, does that count? I mean, those aren't people he cared about.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that sneaker. To me, that seemed to be more of a bad thing happening to Hurley, but being a good thing. I mean, yeah, the people died, but it seemed to be more of a bad thing happening to Hurley type thing.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, I like to think it's really just his family that was affected, because that's what we see the most of. Him and his family being the ones who are the brunt of this whole thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, with Sam Toomey, his wife lost her legs in an accident. She believes it would have happened anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, bad things happen in the world in general. You can't say everything is the numbers. Yeah. I mean, that would just be silly. Because bad things have happened over time. So then it becomes, which things are the numbers and which things are things that would have happened anyway.
Yeah, I think maybe like the guy jumping out the window that would have happened anyway.
Yeah. I mean, they certainly don't make it seem that way, but I agree.
It was very ill-timed, or should I say perfectly timed.
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean it occurs? It's not like people are jumping out of windows or anything.
Yeah, and it was just so weird. I mean, that's just not something that is attributed to bad luck.
Yeah.
Because he jumped.
Right.
Unless we're supposed to assume he fell, but that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, yeah, if he fell, then I'll buy. Like he was a window washer or something.
But he had like a suit on, though.
Oh, so did he? Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't if it was a window washer, and like I would understand, like, bad luck. But anyway, I don't know what the thing is with the luck. I mean, on the island, everyone is having such bad luck that maybe we can't even tell what's the numbers, being causing bad luck, and what's the island causing bad luck?
Right.
Because nobody's having fun.
No. I guess it hasn't been good times for anybody.
No.
So, except for Locke early on.
Well, he was loving it.
Yeah, not so much anymore though.
So you ready to move on?
Yes. However, I have one more thing that's tangentially related. Quickly.
And I have two things.
Okay. So why haven't they gone to find the tower and change it, to a distress signal for them? I mean,
good question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it hasn't worked because the French woman did it too, and maybe it wouldn't work. But I feel like it's worth a try. And I mean, at some point, the U.S. Navy heard the signal. So does that mean the island used to be visible to the outside world and it's not now?
Well, I think. Well, yeah. I mean, I think we talked about that with the whole safe thing. What's it called? The safety switch, safeguard. The
fail-safe.
Fail-safe. Okay.
Safety guard. I like that.
I think we talked about that. Anyway, the Navy heard it, but also Rousseau and her team heard it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think the message was being broadcast into normal space time or whatever.
But so why hasn't anyone heard the French woman's message?
Well, Saeed and them heard it.
No, I mean off the.
Well, I think it's because it seems like the island is pretty far out from wherever, and I don't think they get a lot of people running by.
But in 16 years, not one. I mean, I just find that highly unlikely.
But that's the thing. Even if someone heard it, it's in French.
Okay.
Well, I guess they're near. What is it? Which islands are they near?
Fiji.
Fiji. I think Fiji is French.
Is it?
Yeah. I think I read that, and that's why it makes sense that they were from Fiji because they're a French team, and not that they're from Fiji, but that they were near Fiji.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Fiji is a French thing.
Okay.
And what are the other islands they're next to?
Oh boy. Now you're testing my geography.
Because they were coming from Fiji, and then somebody else said they're 3 days from.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I don't remember though.
I can't think of what it's called. Everyone at home, everyone listening to us is like, you guys are idiots. It's blah blah blah.
I know.
Anyway, thanks guys for all the support.
Please.
Anyway, my point was that even if someone in that area heard it, it's in French, so maybe you could say they don't really know what it's saying, and it would be up to them to have to go investigate.
Mm-hmm.
They might not think it's worth investigating.
I think if the Navy picked it up, they would do something about it. I mean, they would certainly be able to find a translator pretty easily, and they would figure out what it is. I mean, I feel like...
they're not 911. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know if they would.
I think they, especially once they figure out what it says, I think they'd absolutely investigate. They wouldn't just say... They'd have to at least report it, and I think someone would go eventually. I don't think they just ignore it.
I think if the Navy picked up a signal in a different language coming from some island or some area that they don't necessarily have jurisdiction, or they don't necessarily have I'm sure they pick up all kinds of signals that they don't report. You know what I mean?
But I don't think, their business, part of what the military does is pick up signals in other languages. It's not crazy for the military to do.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is they pick up signals in other languages not just for fun, but for surveillance or intelligence or something like that.
Yeah.
When they're actively doing that. What do they have to report?
Well, it says it killed them all and blah blah blah. It says this stuff that
but it's not saying anything. I think the military would. That the military would be like, oh, we got to go investigate this. Some woman says something killed them all.
I think they'd at least report it, and someone eventually would go.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Especially coming from an area where they might not have any sort of jurisdiction or any reason to be there. Now if the message was coming from like Hawaii or some like American something, then I could see like, okay, they might report it to the nearest like police or something like that if they have the time and if they have the energy. Like, and that's the thing, Sam and his people. I don't specifically remember what Sam said or what Lenny said. But for all we know, they were on some covert mission in that area. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that the Navy is always patrolling over there. So, but anyway, I think if the Navy picked it up, I don't think anything would happen. Even if they reported it, who's gonna take the lead and say, okay, we're gonna go send people over there? I mean, that's not the Navy's job to go investigate every message that they pick up. And even if they report it, who's going to be the people to go over there? The Navy wouldn't go over there. The Navy's not going to go try to find this island and then go on shore and then go invest. I mean, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, especially considering there was a plane lost in the area. I mean, I would think that someone would go. People don't just like ignore stuff.
But
like I know, like
the Navy doesn't necessarily know the plane is lost in the area, though.
Well,
I mean, unless they're specifically out there, I mean, that would be the Coast Guard's job to go find the plane.
But I don't think the military will just ignore something like that. I mean, I think, I think there's definitely some sort of agency who would be, I mean, when people get lost, like, if somebody gets stranded, like, there are people who are available to rescue them. Like, people don't just get stranded if they there are people who are available to do that.
That's the thing.
Stuff.
If the message says help, I'm stranded on an island, I need some help, I think that's something that gets reported. If the message is what she said, it killed them all, Richard whatever, he's trying to get in, like, that's a really strange message and not standard. And what would you do with that message if you're the Navy? Like, who would you give it to? The Navy, I mean, the Navy's not the people who handle that kind of stuff. So you'd have to send it to a different agency. And who would you give it to? Like the CIA? I mean, like international police? Like who's responsible?
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with the
I'm saying
with the rules, but that doesn't mean those people don't exist.
What I'm saying is, I don't think it would have gotten taken care of because I don't think there's an agency that specifically handles stuff like that.
Well, I think that's very silly because it's not like people. Well, I mean, stuff like this happens. People get stranded.
I'm sure the Navy. I'm sure if the Navy is like near China or something like that, and they're picking up like radio transmissions, like I'm sure they hear a lot of crimes and whatever that they pick up a lot of signals. They're not going to say, oh, there's someone just robbed a bank in Beijing. Like, we need to report that. You know what I mean? They're not going to go report crimes, especially when they hear something like that in a foreign language. I think specifically because that means it's someone else's territory. Like I said, if it was coming out of Hawaii or some island somewhere near the United States or some U.S. owned thing, I think they might be more willing to report it to to whatever local police department or force, if they even care. I mean, it's just not their job. That's not what their job.
I think it's the military's exact job to worry about what's going on in other countries, especially the Navy. Like the people who worry about what's going on at home are not the military.
I agree. If the message was, we're building some nukes, or we just have a new submarine that we're testing, not like a common crime such as murder, rambled in French on some message that keeps repeating. I just don't think that's something that they handle. I mean, they might say, oh, that's interesting, that's weird, but to go report that and to think that would go through the channels of bureaucracy to actually get investigated, I think is a stretch.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but yeah. I don't really know, but it just seems reasonable.
I mean, there's plenty of crimes in the United States that go uninvestigated with more evidence than that.
Okay. But that brings me back to the point of them changing the message, because you agree that if the message was, we're trapped on the island, we're from flight 815, we were off course.
Yeah, that's an actual distress call. Yeah, they would, and there's a specific agency, the Coast Guard or something, that is set up to already handle something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
investigating murders and stuff like that is a very like local police type thing to do.
Right, but I mean we talked about it before, like what the rules are for committing murder outside of any nation, and I mean that's a weird topic that I don't really know anything about. But so all right, so we have this disagreement about what would happen with the French signal. Well, I think we can let that sit. But let's say so you do think if they changed it, they would investigate. So then the question becomes why don't they try to do that?
Okay, and my other point, I think I said it already, is that I don't necessarily think the Navy is in that area all the time.
Okay. But isn't it worth a try?
Yeah, no, it is worth a try. Now, why they haven't done it, I don't really know. I don't know why they haven't done it.
I mean, like, if they had done it and they hadn't been rescued, I'd say, okay, whatever, they didn't pick it up, you know. I would buy that.
I think pretty soon the French woman is going to tell them that, you know, the others are in control of the signal.
Well, yeah.
So that sort of stops them from ever going. You know, the question is, why haven't they thought to do it yet? You know, this part of season 1, they haven't thought to do that.
Right.
I think it's a situation where there's so much more going on. I think, kind of thing. You know, we've been busy with everything else.
Yeah.
That it just never sort of dawns on them to go do that. That is something they should have thought to do, but pretty soon they're going to figure out. They're going to be told, you know, that it's, you know, they're going to be deterred pretty soon here.
Yeah.
When she tells them the others are in control.
But if the others are in control, why did they leave it with the French message? Like, why not turn it off or change it, or what's the point of leaving that French message on? Like, I barely buy that they're in control of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It just seems completely weird.
Well, maybe she does. Maybe she just doesn't want anyone to change it, so she told them the others are in control.
Yeah, because like she claims to never even have seen the others. Like she just, I don't.
But then why would she not want it changed? I mean, it doesn't help anything for it to keep going on.
No, I agree. I agree. It seems like, you know, if you're thinking, like you said, I agree, they would be much more likely to investigate if they said some specific things like, we're from Flight 815 and we crashed, and, you know, if they got that, I mean, they'd have to check that out because there's actually been a plane that was lost, and, you know.
Yeah.
And then you can, you know. It'd be less fishy to them than a French transmission with some obscure like things about it killed them all. And
yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like you can say whatever you want in a radio broadcast. I mean, I just don't think they're going to go investigate just because somebody said it killed them and help. Like that's just very. I mean, it's sad to say that. I just don't think they would go investigate that. And if she would have said, you know, I'm from. You know, I am a citizen of France, and blah, 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 and, you know, or Fiji or wherever she's from, and I was with blah, blah, blah science team. I mean, maybe she was, I mean, obviously she was just sort of panicking when she did that, because didn't she say, like, it's trying to get in or something like that? Like, there was some urgency when she was recording.
Yeah, and, you know, that's the thing. I mean, her message wasn't, she didn't leave the message she should have left if she wanted it to be sort of utilitarian.
She left a message that sounds good when other people find it.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like, if she left a message that was like what you said. I'm this woman. I'm from France. My team was trapped on this island. I'm still here. They're dead. If you hear this, please come. I'm near Fiji. You know, like if she said that, you think they'd at least look into that?
I don't think the Navy would look into it. I think it would be reported
it would at least be reported. Okay.
I think that would be because that's the kind of thing you can report. I mean, you know these agencies, these police forces, these military forces, like you just don't go tell your commanding officer, "Hey, I got a message." "Oh, what's the message?" "Oh, I don't really know. It was in French. This woman says some people were killed." And that's all you got? You know, but if the message was this French woman, you know, when she crashed, she's she's the only survivor. She's on this island. You know, like details that you can actually go investigate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she was with this science team, so they can corroborate that team has been missing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to have that stuff to go. I mean, you've seen enough movies to know, like, you can't just go to the police station and say, my friend killed 10 people. Like, that's not enough. You got to give details before they're going to investigate it.
Right.
You know, and that's local police. That's not like the Navy doing some, like, covert mission in the Pacific or something.
Right. I'll concede in a sense, yeah. I'd like to believe that they would investigate anyway, but yeah.
I'd like to believe it too. I just don't think they would.
Yeah.
I just don't think they would.
I'm leaning towards believing my belief, but yeah, okay. I mean, I think they'd definitely be more likely if she was more specific.
Yeah.
Because it would give them something to go on at least.
Exactly. You can't. I mean, who's going to take the time to try to put pieces together when there's no pieces to put together?
Yeah.
All they have is this signal, and the next step would be having to get the manpower and resources to go triangulate it, and then go actually to the place the signal is coming from.
Right.
You know, and if they figured out the same thing that Saeed figured out, that it had been playing for a while, you know, then they're really not going to investigate if they find out this message has been playing for 2 years or 5 years or 10 years.
Right.
Or whenever they get it, you know. They're really not going to investigate then.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right. Fair point.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yes. So, I want to note one more thing about this episode.
God.
The cable that Saeed found, and in this episode Hurley finds, that like goes into the water.
Yeah.
It turns out that it eventually leads into the ground. So I just wanted to note that.
Yeah. You know, I always thought that was what was powering Rousseau's bunker.
Really?
Because, you know, yeah. Well, I mean, what else would be powering it? I mean, I guess she could have some sort of generators, but she'd need something to run the generators. You know, because she had, like, lights in there, and then she had the thing she was... Oh, but she was torturing him with the battery, wasn't she?
Yeah, I thought it was the battery. I thought that was the...
this is the battery. I just picture her with a big switch that she was maniacally switching on and off, you know, the big switch on the wall. I guess that was a battery. Okay, well, I don't know. I just assumed it was powering that, but I guess not. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it was powering that, that couldn't have been why it was put there. I mean, she didn't have the power to run that line wherever it goes.
I don't know where it goes. I mean, I would like to think, obviously, the island needs electricity, because the hatches have electricity.
Right.
You know... If you have the resources, why not put the electric generators somewhere else, like on a different island miles away, or underwater somehow, somewhere, you know. The cable actually changed, though. When Hurley finds it, it's a different cable. Like, it just doesn't look the same. Saeed's cable was like, it was a thick one and a thin one. And this one was just like one sort of medium one. Anyway. If I remember correctly.
Continuity error.
Huh?
Continuity error.
Yeah, continuity error.
Or if you're on the forums, I think it's something more.
Oh, jeez.
Dharma came and changed the cables.
I wanted to know. Oh, jeez. That means there's a glitch in the Matrix when they change something.
Yeah, I saw. Can I just bring up real quick? I saw a post today that talked about the fact that they show, you know, when the plane's about to crash, like the captain comes on and says, like, the captain or the stewardess, the flight attendant comes on and says, you know, the captain has asked that you turn it, that you put on your seatbelt or whatever. And they noted that in the 3 different versions of that scene, she says something slightly different. Like, it goes from the pilot is asked to the captain is asked, and then it's put your seatbelts on, and then it's like, fasten your seatbelt. Like, they're slightly different in each version. And it's like, some people might think this is a continuity error, but I think it's much more than that.
Did they explain what they thought that could be?
They were going to the clone theory that all the people were cloned, and that their clones were put on the plane that crashed, and the real versions of them are not. Like, they didn't crash. They didn't really work out the theory very well, though.
Yeah, because why would there be multiple clones? Like, and so there's like 3 different sets of clones, and we saw 3 different plane. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And like 3 different planes. So there's 3 different islands, and each island had a plane of clones crash on. Come on, people. Let's work a little harder.
It's not
right?
a good theory, but anyway, I just had to say it because it's so annoying to me.
Plus, they already did the clone island thing in the movie The Island.
Yeah.
So let's not retread that, please. Thank you.
Right.
I wanted to mention, or I should say, ask. I wondered, how did Danielle booby trap her bunker?
Ah, yeah. I wondered that too.
You gotta think about the dynamite, of course.
Yeah, that was
right?
my
and
first
the black
thought.
rock. But how do you trigger dynamite to a tripwire?
Well, to quote Luck, anyone who watches TV knows how to rig a dynamite trigger trap for your hatch, for your lair.
You know, that's true.
Just use a cigarette.
Just use a cigarette. Yeah, that wouldn't work.
See, you press the trigger, and then it's connected to a lighter that lights the cigarette, and then when the cigarette burns, it
really should just, as quick as that explosion was, it really should just light the dynamite.
Yeah, I guess that'd be easier. Why did I even put the cigarette in there? Poor design on my part.
Yeah. Watch more TV, fella. Watch more TV.
I mean, I would guess that how it works. Like the trigger triggers something that lights up, that has fire, and then that lights the dynamite.
I just don't buy that.
Yeah. I'll buy it because I'll buy it. I'm just going to buy it.
Well,
I don't want to buy it, but I do because
I just don't think there's. I mean, if any of our audience out there is dynamite experts or explosive experts, excuse me. I'm going to say that again. If any of our one more time. If any of our listeners out there are dynamite experts or explosive experts, please tell me how you can trigger a tripwire to ignite dynamite.
I mean, it's obviously possible, but you have to use the materials available to them.
I specifically mean, the materials that, is available to them.
Yeah. I mean,
without an electric charge, I just don't see how that's possible.
Yeah. I mean,
unless she had some sort of I don't want to guess anymore.
Could she use like a gun somehow? Like a gun and...
No.
Okay.
Not at all. Another question is, who built the bridge?
Oh yeah, good point. My first thought about the bridge was related to the four-toed statue because it seemed like a really old bridge, not like a 16-year-old bridge, but like a 1800s bridge or something. I mean, it was very old looking.
Yes, I halfway agree with you. It did look old, but it also looked made from the surrounding materials.
Mm-hmm.
But the planks, I think, really made it seem old.
Yeah.
And so maybe we can say the people at the Black Rock, maybe. I mean, maybe there were survivors from that, and so they... And you said 18th century, and by 18th, hopefully you mean 19th.
Yeah, I thought I said 1800s, but...
Oh, maybe you did. Okay, then no. 1800s I would buy, because that's when the Black Rock is supposed to be from.
Yeah.
And I could see if they built that bridge to get around or whatever.
I agree. It fits with them more. That makes sense.
Fits with them. Wow, we just came up with a theory, and there it is.
Yeah, I like it instantly.
It's the truth. Now, my other little idea or question or something.
Common concern.
Could the others be Rousseau's science team?
Yeah,
not accounting for the fact they don't seem to speak French.
Oops. Yeah. Well, I had the thought a few podcasts ago that it was possible that the sickness was her team joining the others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And that's why, that the others were formed from her science team. That'd be interesting. How would they? Okay. Hold on.
I think the French thing is the kicker.
Yeah, it's possible though that they do speak French and English just like she does.
But she has an accent, and they don't.
Yeah, she barely has an accent. Her accent comes and goes.
Well, but they don't have one at all.
Yeah, I know, but they could be like intentionally not using one, or.
I mean, that's the thing. Unless you're trained, I mean, if you're a native speaker of a language, unless you're trained to speak another language without an accent, how do you do it? I mean, maybe I could see if one of them or two of them, but for all the others that we've seen, none of them have any hint of a French accent. So I think it's really implausible that they are French or are native French speakers.
Yeah.
Not impossible unless they can explain it. Like that. They, I mean, them being a science team and sort of blah blah blah, then joining the island or whatever, or joining the others. I meant to say. I don't see how that they would just be like. I mean, I could see if they were pretending to be native English speakers, if they are sort of the others because of something else and not to do with the science team. I'm not making my point very well.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, if they are the original science team, I don't see them being as malicious as if the others have another backstory.
Yeah. I agree. Well, it makes you wonder, like, what happened to the science team that made them, like, turn into the others?
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to believe that possibly they could join the others who were already there, but I never thought about them constituting them solely.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, this just occurred to me just right now. Regarding him, the him that's behind the others.
Yeah, you think it's Richard?
Everybody thinks, not that I think it's Richard, but like everybody thinks like, oh, it's Hanzo or whatever. And it just occurred to me, they're specifically like not a part of the Dharma Initiative, Hanzo Foundation conglomerate. As far as we know, because, I mean, you had that thing with the hostiles with Kelvin and stuff, and I don't feel like they would have called them that if they were team members, Yeah,
well, it seems like, I think the specific point to make there is that the hostiles could be former Dharma members, the others could be former Dharma members, but the point is that Alvar shouldn't be in charge.
Exactly.
He just should not be the one in charge. I think him, if it's anybody that we already have heard of, is either Rosinski, or it's Richard, or that's it.
By Richard, do you mean Robert?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Just testing you.
Okay. You said it earlier, and I thought like vaguely that sounds wrong, but I don't know why.
Yeah, no, Robert. I thought it was Richard.
Okay, yeah. The Danielle's like husband, the father of Alex.
Her baby daddy.
Yeah. Ooh. Haha.
So let's move on to Deus Ex Machina, please.
Please. Okay. Sounds good.
Deus Ex Machina, episode 19. Locke and Boone attempt to open the hatch using their latest invention. Back at the camp, Sawyer is suffering from headaches and asks Jack for his medical opinion on what might be causing them.
Oh my god.
While in the jungle, Boone and Locke make a surprise discovery, which has tragic consequences for one of them. I wonder who.
Oh god. Oh yeah.
I hate the way this was written.
I can't believe they took the time to talk about Sawyer's silly subplot.
Well, first I want to say, Locke and Boone attempt to open the hatch using their latest invention.
I know.
It's Locke's invention. Let's not mince words here.
Yeah. I imagine Jack coming up and talking to Boone and like.
Yeah, he's like, Boone, when did you do all this? And Locke is busy toiling. And
yeah. Oh, it wasn't me. It was Mr. Locke.
Oh, God.
And Locke just nods and doesn't speak because he's son.
We do have to talk about the title, and I was thinking about what this meant, but the other thing I wanted to point out, it says, while in the jungle, Boone and Locke make a surprise discovery. Shouldn't that be surprising? Shouldn't the word be surprising?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess surprise kind of fits, but it just should have said surprising.
Well, and I want to point out, it was okay. I mean,
and it wasn't really a surprise because they were looking for it.
Yeah, Locke had the big surprise was Locke's vision, but he was looking for it specifically. So
surprise! The thing we were looking for is right there.
Yeah, the hatch was a surprise, but like not the plane. He saw it, so yeah.
So let's talk about what the title means, if it means anything.
Please.
Deus Ex Machina. Do we all know what that means?
I assume all of our audience is quite literate and has heard this expression. Which is an old Greek expression.
It's actually a Latin phrase.
Thank you. That's what I meant by Greek.
Yeah. Well, the Greeks used it, but the phrase is. I mean, the language is Latin.
It's clearly Latin. If I had been, yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Deus Ex Machina is a Latin phrase that is used to describe an unexpected, artificial, or improbable character, device, or event introduced suddenly in a work of fiction or drama to resolve a situation or untangle a plot. That's it. Okay. So examples are having a character wake up and realize it was all a dream, or an angel suddenly appears to resolve all the problems that the characters couldn't have resolved by themselves.
Right.
Or in Deus Ex Machina, what's the translation? The machine.
It's like God. It's like God from the machine.
Yeah. Exactly.
In the old Greek plays, it translated to a literal God descending at the end and saving the hero or whatever and resolving the situation. So it was very literal in the old days. Of course, now usually it's not actually a God that comes down and saves people, but it's some sort of improbable thing that resolves the situation out of nowhere.
And it's God from the machine, God being played by one of the actors in the play,
right.
And the machine being the crane actually used to lower the character and
right.
the set. Anyway, I was trying to figure out if there is an actual Deus Ex Machina in this episode.
Mm-hmm. I have an idea for what I think Deus Ex Machina is.
Let's hear it, Buster Brown.
My theory about what Deus Ex Machina is Locke's dream. Because they were stuck, they didn't know what to do with the hatch, and as things were going, they just didn't have any way to deal with it, and this dream comes, and suddenly now they have a mission. Of course, it doesn't really help them open the hatch, so that kind of hurts that theory. But it's the closest thing I can think of to a Deus Ex Machina in this episode.
I have to agree. That is the closest thing. I was hoping, Deus Ex Machina usually resolves the sort of entire plot, not just the subplot.
Right.
But like I said, there's nothing really in this episode that sort of resolves anything in big, all the elements in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I'm trying to think, anything with Sawyer, nothing with Sawyer can really be, nothing ties into Sawyer with Deus Ex Machina, right? His headache thing.
No.
I mean, basically he just finds he needs glasses and he gets glasses and that's it.
Yeah.
If
glasses fell from the sky, then I'd say, okay, there's the Deus Ex Machina. But and he picked them up, and oh look, now I feel better. But yeah, the way it's resolved is very scientific and not.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it's just basically that Locke's dream. It doesn't help them open the hatch. But
the other thing, I guess, I mean, there's a whole thing with Locke's flashback. It's not a Deus Ex Machina, but there was mention of God. So I don't know.
Immaculate Conception?
Yeah, which, by the way, guys, just for you at home, Immaculate Conception does not mean virgin birth.
It doesn't.
They're totally different. The fact that, it was supposed to be, I'm not an expert. I mean, I looked this up just like everybody else, so I'm not looking down on anyone if they don't know that, because I didn't know it either. But I looked it up, and it really means that Mary was born free from original sin, but by usual biological means. She did have a human father, but she was free from original sin. That was the immaculate part. So not that she didn't. So you could say, well, that's what she meant. No, she specifically means he didn't have a father. Like it was a virgin birth. That's what she really means. So it's a popular misconception, and I just want everybody to know that. And it just bothers me. I want the writers to know that. But
yeah, I think it'd be less confusing if it was like virgin conception, because I think people want to think the virgin birth is immaculate conception because like God helped conceive you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what immaculate conception seems to mean.
Yeah.
Virgin birth obviously means a baby was born and the mother was never was a virgin.
Right.
And I think it's the conception part is that becomes the misconception.
Right.
But I was just wondering. Locke's mom does say, and they have very similar eyes, by the way. I just wanted to mention that.
Interesting.
They sort of looked alike. Anyway, you say interesting, and I don't believe you. I was wondering if she does say immaculately conceived, and I wonder if she literally meant that. Like that Locke was free from sin.
Oh. Well,
I understand she also means virgin birth.
She says you don't have a father. You were immaculately conceived.
I understand that. And I'm just wondering if it fits in any way that, yes, she meant virgin birth, but maybe she did say immaculate conception on purpose also.
That's the thing. I would like to believe you if she didn't specifically say what she meant by that.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's anything in the show that we can look upon and think about in terms of Locke being free from mortal sin or something.
I can't imagine how. I can't imagine. I mean, he doesn't seem to be any more free from it than anybody else.
Yeah.
But how do you know? I don't know.
Just wondering.
Because you're free from original sin doesn't mean you're free from sin in general, I guess.
I gotta say, immaculate conception sounds much better than you. Locke, you were virgin born.
Yeah, I know.
What are you supposed to say to that?
It does sound better. I agree, but yeah, it's just not what that means, sadly.
It's not what it means, but it should mean the other thing too. Like an immaculate conception should lead to a virgin birth. Like it shouldn't always, obviously, because Mary didn't.
Right.
But what the phrase seems to connote, or should denote, is that God was the father type thing.
I think that's definitely one of the reasons for the misconception because it sounds like it should mean that.
Well, if we all band together, we can get it changed. Screw the Catholic Church. We'll get it changed.
I think enough people believe it at this point. It's pretty close to just becoming the definition.
I need the church to recognize it.
Oh, right. Man. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, right.
We've all seen the Da Vinci Code.
I haven't, actually.
I know. Me either.
Okay. So I want to talk about Locke since this is his BS.
Please.
I love how Locke is pretty much always wrong.
Yeah.
In certain instances, he's just wrong all the time.
Right.
He goes, that scene they do the little recap flashback thing at the beginning of the episode, and Locke is telling the sort of walkabout tour guide, hey, this is my destiny. You have to let me go.
Mm-hmm.
On this walkabout. And it's funny because he was wrong. That wasn't his destiny.
Yeah.
His destiny was specifically, as we found out, for him to be on the island.
Right.
And I just thought it was another instance of Rock being wholeheartedly sure about something and being totally wrong.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
My question that goes along with that is, how does Locke know how to build a trebuchet?
Oh, dear.
Because he's specifically shown abilities that go beyond his training for the walkabout and his skills as a box salesman.
Yes. Well, he did have other jobs. I think he did pest control as well.
Yes, and I think that's how he knows how to get rid of the fleas on the island.
And he worked in a toy store, I guess.
He worked at a toy store. And I gotta say, when they used that mouse trap,
oh my God.
Was that not pretty heavy? It was slick.
Extremely.
It was slick, but it was also kind of heavy-handed because they're like, hey, look at this mousetrap, and guess what? I'm about to be put in the mousetrap myself.
I know. And they show it like coming down.
They show it coming down
because it's just when his mom has like shown up, and it's like you're trapped now.
Yeah, exactly. The trap has been set.
Yeah,
you know? I love that.
I want to mention specifically related to that. He says to the kid like. So okay. Remember back when Walt and Locke played backgammon in like episode 3 or whatever that is?
Yeah, 2 I think maybe.
And I don't think it was a pilot, but okay.
I'm sorry. I forgot that the pilot is 2 episodes.
Oh, okay. So you do.
Right.
We mean the same episode.
Yeah.
Walt comes up and says, is it like checkers? And Locke says, no, it's a better game than checkers. And he says it with this disgust, like, checkers.
Yeah.
What a lowly game that is. And now his favorite game is Mousetrap?
Yeah.
Come on, Locke. Give me a fucking break. Could you get more lowbrow than Mousetrap?
What'd you say? Could you do what?
Could you get more lowbrow than Mousetrap?
Yeah, he did say it's his favorite game. I think Locke was a different person back then.
Yeah.
I think by game he means like board game.
But
is chess a board game too? I guess.
Yeah. But he looks down on checkers, but holds Mousetrap in a high esteem.
Well, actually, Mousetrap takes a lot more. I'll stand by him on Mousetrap being more something than checkers, but it's a show. Let's move on.
All right, minor point, obviously. Okay.
So I have a whole theory. Like I said, I think before, I wrote this theory down on a piece of paper that I can't find. So some of my little details might be lost, and maybe you'll quiz me, and I'll remember them.
Okay.
But I wanted to talk about what was it? I need to find my paper, but I think this is what my theory was.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Can't wait. I like theories. They're fun and engaging, and here at the Last Lowdown, we strive to bring you as many theories as possible per episode.
Yay!
If we don't meet a quota of at least 2 theories per episode, we promise your money back.
What is this, the mid-episode disclaimer?
Yeah. I'm filling time here.
So I wrote this down. I see my note here, anyway, my point being, I think season 1 is all about testing Locke.
Okay.
Locke has a specific journey, and season 1 is about testing Locke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is my big theory here. So give me some chance. I gotta formulate this. I mean, verbalize it correctly. Season 1 is all about testing Locke. Yeah. Once Locke finds the hatch, and he finds the hatch and all this other stuff with season 2, he basically leaves the path that the island was trying to put him on. Mm-hmm. And when Echo comes into the picture, and they find the Pearl Hatch, that is basically Locke getting back on the original path. So what I think is, I was wondering, how does Locke know how to build a trebuchet? How is he getting all these visions and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking that it's not specifically a connection to the island, but connection to the people who used to live on the island. That maybe the spirit of these people, this is gonna be weird.
Oh boy.
Still lives on the islanders, or the island. That basically the island is just inanimate. But it's the spirit of these people that sort of gives the island these mysterious powers.
Okay.
And basically, the island wants Locke to investigate or find out or whatever about the past, about what the core of the island is really about. Whatever great thing the island is about, they want Locke to share in that, to experience that, to maybe even find their culture or something like that, right?
Okay.
And that's what basically that was Locke's journey to go down that path and find that golden knowledge. Mm-hmm. But since Dharma was on the island and has the hatch and has all the stuff they were doing, Locke got sidetracked. he said, okay, I'm going down this path the island is willing me to go down. And then it accidentally led him to the hatch, which basically shook his faith in the island. And basically the island had to find a way to say, you know what? It's not about what Dharma was doing. It's not about the hatch. It's not about the numbers. It's about something else. And it had to find a way to get him back on that original path, which I think was basically showing him that everything that sort of the general idea is that Dharma is fake. Dharma is not real. Like, you know, the stuff going on in the hatch was not real. Like, all this Dharma stuff is inconsequential to what we really want to show you. So that's my theory about what's going on with Locke.
Okay.
And so once they find, so the island helped, because he lost his faith in the island in season 2. You know, with the problems with the hatch,
right?
And then so the island still, you know, helped Echo get Locke back on that path. You know, so that was the whole thing with going to find the pearl and the question mark hatch, and then because that was rock bottom. That was when Locke threw up his hands and was like, okay, that's it. Like, I just got my proof. Before I didn't believe it. Before I was didn't really know what was going on. But now I'm convinced that everything I thought was wrong, but it was just he thought the island was leading him to the hatch and to what was in the hatch, and that was his destiny. But it's really something else that we'll find out in season 3. And I think the fact that we saw the statue at the end of season 2 is signifying that, and like we said before in our spoiler section, that the second part of season 3 is going to be about the island itself, right? And the people who are on the island before Dharma.
Yeah, supposedly.
And I think that's what Locke is going to be a part of. That's what the island is trying to get him towards. And that's what we'll get towards once we get past all this, the others and Dharma and the hatch stuff. So that's my theory. Okay.
I like the theory. So I guess I need to throw some things at you to try to fit into your theory.
Okay.
First of all,
I'm ready.
Locke's vision, the impetus for this whole episode. What was the purpose of that vision?
The vision of the plane?
Like under your theory, it shouldn't have been of course, it does not lead to opening the hatch. But why would he get that vision? With regards to the journey of learning about the island. I mean, it seems to have to do with people who certainly weren't native to the island. I mean, it's this group of Nigerian drug smugglers.
I think that, well, I guess I'd have to take a step further and say, because Locke thinks that Boone's death, that the island wanted Boone to die.
True.
That the island basically challenged his faith to say, are you willing to let this kid die in order to know our secrets or something? So if you take that as a given, take that as true, then I think the plane it showed him the plane to get him to that test.
Okay.
So
it was just to lead him into making the sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. I think now I don't specifically know when. I think some points when they're trying to get to the jungle, because the island was taking his ability to walk back. At least he felt like that's what was going on.
Something was happening. I mean, he didn't have feeling in his legs anymore.
Well, it made me wonder: did he ever have feelings in his legs? I guess we're assuming he did, but. Anyway,
I feel like if he didn't, he would have noticed before then.
Yeah. No, I think it was probably specifically the island was taking it back, but I think part of when Locke couldn't walk and he was stumbling and then he just couldn't just walk anymore. I think part of that was faking and part of that was the island taking his legs back. Because I think he was basically at some when they get to the end he just sort of falls down. And when he falls down, he looks up and there's the plane. If he didn't stop there, they wouldn't have necessarily found the plane then. So I think, and then he had to. Then Boone said, "How are we going to get up there?" And Locke immediately says, "You have to climb up there."
Right.
He doesn't ponder. He doesn't wonder how we're going to do this. He says, "You got to go do it." And I think he knows that this is the test. And I think God, I'm reading probably too much into it, but we saw Locke's dream, And I think it's one of those things where Locke probably was able to interpret the dream more than sort of because we just got to see it.
Right.
But, and if you think about it in the real world, he would have been able to interpret it more. And so he saw, he's saying Teresa falls upstairs, Teresa falls down the stairs, and that was about somebody dying, and then Boone was all bloody, and then it was the plane.
Falling specifically.
Yeah, exactly. And then the mother pointing, to the plane, I gotta say that dream was cool. They shot that very well. So I think he was able to interpret the dream and know pretty quickly, at least by the time that they found the plane, that Boone needs to go on the plane, that he was probably going to die, but this is what the island wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was largely a test. Like I said, I think most of season 1 is all about testing Locke. They're testing him on various levels and his commitment and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
How far he wants to go, and I think that was probably the big test. Do you have more things to throw at me?
Well, yeah. So he wasn't fully faking. I mean, he wasn't faking.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'd like to think he was faking at some points, but I don't think he was faking the whole time. I don't think he was faking the whole time.
Because, like, the scene where he's pricking his legs, no one's even there. So he's not, like, doing that for anybody's benefit but his own. Mm-hmm. And if he was faking, that'd be weird.
Basically, the reason I want him to be faking at some points is that it makes his decision to let Boone go up there more on his own, and not he didn't have a choice; he couldn't walk.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's why I never understood why he said Boone was a sacrifice, because it seemed like he didn't have a choice. Like, it was either you go up there or no one is, because I can't climb because I can't move.
That's why I feel like at some point, I mean it's hard to tell from what we saw, but I just feel like at some point he was faking, like whether it was when he was just kind of stumbling or whether it was at the end when he just like falls down and can't walk anymore. I feel like that was really the point when he decides, okay, I'm just going to stop walking here at this point. Mm-hmm. And luckily that's where the plane was. So you can take it either way, but that's the thing. He says Boone's death was a sacrifice. He's been wrong before, but I think it makes the most sense to look at it as the island wanted a sacrifice.
But he does, like, when the plane starts to lurch, before it falls, he does say, Boone, get out, and he had time. I mean, if he had listened to that and immediately got out of the plane, he would have been okay. But he was in there fucking with the radio. True. And that's really what resulted in him dying. It's not like Locke didn't even say anything. He did try to warn him. I feel like if he was really a sacrifice, it just wouldn't have gone down that way.
Then I guess I would say that Locke wasn't faking any of that time, and he didn't know that Boone was going to die. He didn't know that the island necessarily wanted. He didn't know what the dream meant. He didn't interpret it beforehand. And it wasn't until after Boone died that he put the pieces together. That's what the island wanted, and he calls that a sacrifice.
So he decided after the fact that the island took Boone as a sacrifice, not so much that he sacrificed him, but that the island took him.
Yeah.
Because it just didn't seem like he. If he was supposed to have been sacrificing him, the scene should have played differently.
Maybe it was a thing like, the island was telling Locke to do things and he was doing them, and now the island was saying, okay, go find this plane. And the island wanted to see if he would really go do the effort to go find this plane. Mm-hmm. And maybe Locke knew Boone was going to die, but not necessarily in the plane or related to the plane.
Yeah.
So maybe that was part of it too, that the island was testing him to see how far he was willing to go.
Okay. I mean, after Boone, is critically injured and he carries him back, he goes to the hatch.
Yeah, and he's like, "This is you. I did what you wanted, right?"
And he's talking to the hatch like the hatch is the island,
Yeah, because he thinks the island wants him to get into the hatch.
Yeah, and then the light coming on, I guess, restores his faith. Because, but it's like we know from season 2 that light's nothing. It has nothing to do with, the island telling him you're doing a good job or whatever. which is what it seemed like at the time. It seemed like some sort of sign, like you're on the right path or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel that's how he took it, but it's not the case. So
that's the thing. Like, if he took it as that, and then later he's like, okay, well, it was a sacrifice, because he's still thinking that that's what he's supposed to do, is get into the hatch. So I could see why. I mean, that's the thing. He says it was a sacrifice, but at that point he thought it was. In the long run, it may not have been. But I mean, what else could it be? I mean, why was it basically just a premonition? One of those like paradox type of things where he went to go find the plane because he had a dream about the plane, you know? Like, so he had a dream of a future that didn't necessarily happen yet. You know, it didn't happen until he had the dream, basically.
Yeah.
And so maybe he just misinterpreted and he thought it was a sacrifice when really it was just sort of a premonition about what's going to happen.
Okay.
So, I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
I could take it that way. But I feel like I guess the island's just not going to give up on him. I mean, he really, well,
he's immaculately concepted.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was weird that, you know, the island apparently told him to build the trebuchet, at least at some level, instructed him how to build it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you just can't build that unless you know what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, unless it's like from all his experience playing Mousetrap, he knew how to build that. I don't know. But I thought it was the interesting question of if the island told him to build the trebuchet, and Locke said, didn't Locke say it told me it would work? Why didn't it work? Why would the island have him do something that's not going to actually work?
That doesn't work. Yeah.
Just another test? Like, okay, let's see if you'll go through the effort of building this thing. You know.
I mean, under your theory, it doesn't even care about him getting into the hatch. So,
I think it makes my theory work a little bit more because Locke finds the hatch and he thinks that's what he's supposed to do, and he's desperately trying to get in, and he's sort of, you know, spending too much time trying to get into the hatch, and the island says, okay, you want to get in the hatch? Well, you know, I don't want you in the hatch, but how about this? I'll give you a really good way of getting in there, and I'll show you that that's not going to work. Maybe that'll make you leave the hatch alone.
Right.
But it didn't.
It didn't. So maybe, like, the thing it couldn't control was that light at the end, and which, you know, kept him on the path.
Or maybe, oh God, I just had it. Oh man, I just tied in the Boone thing with that. What did I just say? That oh well, I guess I was thinking that maybe Locke was being. Well, I don't believe that, but maybe Locke was being punished by. I mean, Boone's death was a punishment for spending too much time trying to get into the hatch.
Oh,
like it, basically, like it showed him how to do the trebuchet just so he'd be let down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he has the dream,
and when that wasn't enough to discourage him, it killed someone, his helper.
Yeah,
and that's not enough.
And that's not enough.
So then it says, "Well, this thing you've been working on." Is bullshit anyway, which causes them to want to sort of, you know, go in there and finally let it run. Of course, then he finds out it does do something, which, oh boy, I don't know.
That's the thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not specifically what's in the hatch is unimportant, but don't go in the hatch. I mean, that's what Walt said too.
Yeah. He did.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. The island, in my theory, seems to lead him to find out that what's in the hatch isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's really, well, it does something because something happened when that failsafe went off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe
well, not just the failsafe, but when you don't press the button, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff happens. It's not. I mean, yeah. Say what you will, it's parlor tricks or something, but I mean, it was a pretty strong magnet that was pulling the place apart. And as we speculated, or not as we speculated, but as we mentioned, like, I don't know where that would have ended if they didn't use the failsafe. You know.
Well, at some point, I mean, there's no such thing as infinite energy, although you can get a big amount and it's almost the same.
Yeah, I mean, would it just have, like, swallowed everything in the world, like metal? I don't know.
I mean, you gotta wonder what. I mean, I don't think this thing. I mean, do you think this is a real world type of like phenomenon, like this intense electromagnetic energy that's just in like one spot and like?
No, I don't.
I mean, where would it be? Where would it get its energy from? I mean, at some point, it seems like it would stop.
Yeah.
It would pass its critical mass and just like dissipate.
Right. One would think.
I wanted to know.
But if that's the case, why not just like let it and not bother with the stupid numbers and all that?
Well, that's the whole thing. Remember, they wanted to keep experimenting with it, right? And then we come up with that.
Oh, okay,
like,
okay.
They don't want it to go away.
Okay. All right. That raises a whole host of issues, but not the task at hand, I guess.
Another interesting on why does Locke know? Why does Locke know this? Why does he know what Nigerian money looks like?
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing.
Now,
what money is that? Oh, it's.
Maybe I'm gonna go look up Nigerian currency. Maybe it's got like in Nigeria we trust or something. You know what I mean? Like it's got the country name on there. So
they substitute Nigeria for God. That'd be weird.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm looking at Nigerian currency, and in the top it says Central Bank of Nigeria. So it's pretty obvious. But I don't know. It just seemed weird to me that he was just like, oh, it's Nigerian money. But I'm looking at some various forms of Nigerian currency, and they all have Central Bank of Nigeria on top.
I mean, as long as it's in English, you should be able to read it and know.
Yeah.
For most currency has the country on it that I've seen.
Is English the official language of Nigeria?
I think it might be.
Because their money's printed in English.
Doesn't say it on Wiki?
Oh, I don't look at Wikipedia.
Oh. I thought you were looking at Wikipedia.
I am now.
Now I want to look.
Yeah, English is their official language.
That's good. Okay. It was probably an English colony.
Oh, the English never had colonies.
Oh boy.
Everyone knows that.
That's just propaganda put about by the carpetbaggers.
Oh, jeez. You mean the, No. Another weird thing, little small thing, is when Locke and Boone find Echo's brother, or one of the people who was with Echo, Echo's brother pretending to be a priest.
Yeah, I think Echo's brother was actually on the plane because I think he goes in and digs him out.
Oh, that's right.
So that's just one of the associates.
And then you got to wonder why that guy was in a tree. Did he jump out of the plane?
Yeah, well, when planes crash on the island, people just like propel themselves in weird directions for no reason.
I wanted to ask because he said Boone, I guess, says how long has he been dead, and Locke.
Oh God!
Locke analyzes the clothing.
Oh God!
I just don't understand why clothing is the default way to analyze how long someone's been dead on this island.
Yeah, I know.
Like any show I've seen, any movie, they always talk about the decay of the body.
Right.
And on this show, they always want to talk about the decay of the clothes. I just don't get it.
I don't
make any sense to me. Like, well, this is high quality polyester, so who knows how long? I'm like, what?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I don't know. That's really
how
weird.
does he know that normally clothing would completely decompose within 2 years?
I know.
And I don't even buy that.
Me
I don't
either.
even buy that. Like, I mean, I've seen like items of clothing that have been out like in the elements for a while. You're driving down the street and you can tell something's been there for a while.
Yeah.
It's not completely decomposed.
I've had shirts for 5 or more years and they are not decomposing.
Yeah, I think he means specifically like in the jungle. Like,
I know, it's supposed to be a joke.
Yeah,
Sorry.
gonna laugh, but I couldn't tell if you were joking.
I apologize for that. That joke that was disguised as a boring statement.
Yes. And how does he know it's high quality polyester? Like, can you really tell just by looking?
I know.
Like high quality, not just as polyester. This is high quality polyester. I used to be a polyester salesman, and maybe you should be a clothes salesman.
There's a theme here. How did Locke know? Fill in the blank.
There's a whole thing about how did Locke know.
He just seems to know stuff that he has no. I mean, yeah, you can explain him hunting the boar and stuff, but at a certain point, it's like he just knows too much.
And then he's like, gold teeth, obviously well off.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of people with gold teeth that are not well off.
I know. I don't know. God. I mean, maybe like in Africa, that's specifically a sign of wealth, and he knows that, but
God, why would he know that?
I know. But it's Locke. He just knows a lot of stuff. I guess the island is a real expert in various things.
The island just knows everything.
Because that's the thing. I mean, even if you say, "Oh, the island's telling him," like, how does the island know that stuff?
The island is psychic too, I guess. It can read the minds of dead people.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you know what? Okay, they're dead there. Maybe it got it from them. Fair enough.
Yeah.
It said it read their minds and then it told Locke.
But they're dead. How did it read their minds?
It read their minds right before they died.
Oh, okay.
You know, like
that.
Yeah.
It had to do it quickly.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I guess like we're to assume they just died in the crash. Maybe that guy like lived and he sort of like crawled away or something.
No way, not at all.
I tried.
The plane was on top of a cliff. Like, there's no way he like crawled out and got down and then climbed up a tree somewhere else.
You know, I gave it a go.
Well, better next time. So another interesting thing. I'm just gonna take up all the time. Locke calls Boone son.
Really?
Right before Boone is about to die. Just like when Locke's dad called him son right before he stole his kidney.
When was that?
In the episode.
No. What scene was it that he called him son?
Hold on. Let me find it.
I need to look at the transcript.
I'm looking already. It was basically right when Locke is... what's his name? Boone. Let me find it.
Okay. I'm looking as well.
I actually don't see it in here.
Let's see. Well, they sure say son a lot. Reason.
Oh, here it is. Can you move your legs? This is when Locke couldn't walk.
Oh.
And he's like, just help me up, son. And then he goes, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. I never caught that.
Yeah. He calls him son.
Wow.
And he's basically, I mean, in some respects, he's using Boone the same way he was used.
I know. I mean, that makes that theory very concrete.
Yeah.
When they have him specifically say that. Now that I think about it, I remember him saying that. And it didn't occur to me, but like, I've never heard him use that expression with anybody else.
No. I think basically he formed the exact same relationship. I mean, maybe he knew in the long run that Boone was going to help him on his journey, and he basically used him all this time to get from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he was just sort of forging that relationship with him because Boone, you know, the same situation. Boone didn't seem to have a strong father figure.
Right. Well, his father was dead.
Yeah. Well, they'll do it. Well, but I mean, they were remarried. I mean, he had a stepfather or something.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, he didn't ever have a strong father figure in his life, and Locke becomes his father figure.
Definitely.
But then Locke needs something from him. You know, the end of this being, you know, him to die or him to help him, whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing that Anthony Cooper did to Locke. You know.
Right. I don't know that Locke is as knowingly screwing Boone over as you know Cooper is, but there's definitely an analogy there.
Yeah.
You can't be denied based on that line. I can't. That's Wow.
Yeah,
good.
And he says it in a very weird way.
Really glad you pointed that out.
Well, I try to pull my weight, unlike some people.
Oh, I don't know who you could mean.
Well, it's not me. I also thought it was interesting how young they can make Locke look. The flashback scenes, he just looks like 20 years younger than me. I don't know what they do. I mean, I know he's clean shaven and all that, and he's got a little hairpiece. But like he just looks so much like in his eyes and everything. Maybe he's just a good actor. He just looks so much younger and more youthful in those flashbacks.
Yeah,
it's really amazing.
I read or heard this is silly to even bring this up because I don't know anything specific about what I'm going to say, cool. But somewhere I was reading, I think that like the way they approach the flashbacks is completely different. The actors and like the crew and everything, like the way they light it and shoot it and the way the actors perform it or are told to perform it is completely different in some specific way from the way they're supposed to be on the island.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
So, I mean, I think there's some sort of... I mean, obviously there's makeup involved. But I think he's doing something acting-wise, too, to make himself, like, seem younger.
Yeah, there's something going on. He just seems so much younger. It's crazy.
I mean, I didn't really think that, but I think they are doing specific things to give that effect. So, yeah. It's interesting.
Well, I think I'm done.
You're done. Wow, nice. Yeah. I mean, all the issues that I had were pretty much raised by going through all that, so I'm done too.
I got one more little thing.
Okay.
I believe it was when they are searching for the plane. Locke pulls out his compass and looks at it.
Really?
Yeah, the same compass he gave Saeed a couple episodes back that he apparently didn't need.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so I thought it was weird. I caught it because we made that point a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's walking and he stops and he pulls out his compass. I'm like, wow, Locke, I thought you didn't need that anymore.
Maybe he has more than one. Or maybe Saeed gave it back to him and he was like, it's defective.
Maybe, but why would he give it back to him?
I know. I hate what I'm saying, but
yeah. I mean, I agree. Those are viable options, but I think it's the writers forgot. The people forgot.
Oops. Yeah. Oops. Actually, I listened to the commentary, and they mentioned that material, that the compass was something they just added in because the episode is too short.
Oh, the whole scene with him giving up his compass.
Yeah, that scene and the scene with Jack where they talk about the whole compass subplot was not...
The whole compass fiasco? That was... Of
1825, yeah. Everything was different after that.
Yeah.
The times were... Anyway, that whole thing was in addition because the material they had with Boone... and their flashbacks didn't fill up the time, so they needed like an extra 2 or 3 minutes.
It's just like Boone for his flashback not to fill up enough time.
I know.
God, Boone, even your flashbacks aren't good enough.
Oh, sorry, Boone. Oh.
We love you anyway, even though you're dead.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's okay. He's dead. Since he died on the island, he went to heaven.
So what I wanted to say was. Regarding that, since it was like something they just threw in there, I mean, they threw it in there because it's true, and they want to add something to the episode, and they thought, we'll add this. But it could be that since that was just like a late addition, that they just
I mean, it happens in just about any sort of entertainment production, these continuity errors. And I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of errors that people actually catch before it gets into the final thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny how you would think of the actors and the crew and the people writing, because someone had to write in the script. Well, I would assume someone wrote in the script, Locke stops, looks at his compass, that somebody would remember, hey, 2 episodes ago, or whatever, Locke gave up his compass. Let's not put that in there.
Right.
But I know everybody's busy and they're focusing on every single other thing. But it's one of those things that you just would assume one person would remember that he gave up his compass already.
Right. Well, see, my theory is that possibly, since that was a late thing, that maybe, like, not everybody even knows about it. Like, they were like, all right, well, we shot it and we've got 38 minutes. And, like maybe the head writers knew and they say, okay, we need to add something, we'll throw this in. And like it didn't even get to the room, like people didn't even know about it. And maybe they hadn't even seen the episode by the time they were writing this one. And so maybe they didn't even know, whoever wrote the episode didn't even know.
I don't buy that, only because, I mean, a little bit. But in terms of the writers...
Oh boy.
I
just want to especially not buy it because Damon and Carlton wrote this episode.
Yeah, I mean, they should know what's going on. I mean, even David Carlin didn't write this episode. They should know what happened 2 episodes ago, even if it is a late edition. They read those scripts. They would read the final shooting script and know. I mean, it's just something they overlooked, but
yeah, but they have messed up before, so.
Yeah, but I don't think the cause is that it was they just didn't know.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'm trying to help them.
Hey, I just got to shoot you down. That's okay.
I know.
Got to shoot something.
I mean, I don't really agree. I just because that stuff was specifically a late edition, I was thinking somehow that was the reason.
Yeah, and I'll buy that 0.23%.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a number. I didn't even know.
I'll take what I can get. Ooh. Coincidence, or did you just open the box?
I opened the box, but all the box has is percentages.
Oh.
And nobody wants those.
That's a boring box.
Well, it's a math box, so it is boring.
Oh, zing. Sorry.
Are you done with this episode?
I am.
Well, let's move on to Do No Harm, because there's none to talk about in that one.
Yeah, Do No Harm's going to be shortest episode discussion ever.
Yay! Everyone listening is just thrilled that we're almost done. I just can't wait to say episode 20, Do No Harm. Locke leaves the seriously injured Boone at the caves, forcing Jack to take heroic measures to save Boone's life. Unaware that her brother's life hangs by a thread, Shannon spends the night on the beach with Saeed. As their relationship evolves, Boone's condition worsens. Ooh, look at the parallels there. Jack's abilities are further put to the test as Claire goes into an unexpected labor. Do no harm, Jack. Do no harm, okay? You took the Hippocratic Oath like everyone else.
Everyone else? Okay.
Everyone else.
Yeah.
You didn't take the Hippocratic Oath in 5th grade?
No, I didn't. I must have had chicken pox.
Oh, jeez. Or maybe it was the measles. Okay. What do you think about this episode? I mean, as we talked before off podcast, there's not a lot to say about this episode because it wasn't a bad episode plot wise, but in terms of what the big questions and what's going on the island and all that good stuff that we like to talk
mythology,
about,
yeah.
there's nothing really there. I mean,
yeah, it's an episode that I like. It's like usually these character episodes are very boring to me, but this one is it's quite dramatic and I think it's good in a way, but it's just in terms of this podcast. We're not just here to talk about the kind of stuff that this episode concerns. So, so there's just not a lot there. I do have some things, a few tiny things. So, I guess I may as well. You want me to
Please.
go ahead? Okay. A small pointless note. Jack's friend in the flashback that's getting fitted for a suit. You know? He's the friend from the first flashback in White Rabbit who's getting beat up by the bullies.
Oh,
that's the guy. If you keep track of what he says his name is, that's him. You can follow that. Yeah, so that's just a tiny note that I noticed because when I heard him say his name, I said, "Oh yeah, that was the name of the kid." Anyway, another thing I wanted to point out was Boone, when he's dying, he says, "They built a hatch," and I'm like, "They built a hatch?"
Is that what he says?
Yeah,
I didn't catch that he said that.
Yeah, he says they built a hatch, and I thought that was a really odd thing. I would expect like we found a hatch, but he says they built a hatch.
I didn't remember hearing that, but that immediately makes me think he means the others or someone else on the island built a hatch. Like, he's obviously not saying he and Locke built a hatch.
Oh, here's what he says. Okay, I'm looking at the transcript. All right. No, Boone says no. Okay, Locke said you fell from a cliff. No. It fell plane because of the hatch. We found a hatch. Jack says, Boone, stay with me. Stay with me. Boone says, Locke said, John said not to tell. They built a hatch. So, yeah, you say the others. You think that's what he's assuming at this point?
Uh-huh. Let's see. What transcript are you reading?
Lost TV forum.
I'm on TwizTV.com, and they say that Boone said, Locke said, ... John said, ... John said, ... not to tell about the hatch. And that's what I remember hearing.
Okay. This transcript says they built a hatch. The closed captions on the DVD say they built a hatch.
They built a hatch. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what he's saying is John said not to tell that they built a hatch. I mean, is that's sort of the phrase that he was trying to say?
Well, after that he says we found a hatch, and then John said not to tell. I feel like that's what John said not to tell. We found a hatch, and then he says they built a hatch. I feel like that's another thought.
I don't like that, if that's really what he said. I mean, I like it in the sense that we're going to find out that there's others, but it doesn't make a lot of sense for him to say they built a hatch. I don't understand why they would put that in the show like that. Because he should know about it. He shouldn't reference they.
Well, I agree. That's why I wrote it down, because I thought that was a weird thing for him to say. Now, what it could be is that the closed captions were mistaken. It's happened before, and he actually said about the hatch. And
I'm about to listen to it in 3 seconds. And I want to hear for myself what it sounds like to me, because I don't remember them saying they built a hatch. He's
saying it, in that undying voice.
I know.
So it's not easy to understand him, but that's why I had the closed captioning on. So that's why I knew, or that's why I picked up that he supposedly said that. So it reminds me of when Charlie's like, all they wanted was Claire. Like, people are using these words and they don't seem to have a reason to use them.
Yeah, no, the closed caption's wrong. I totally hear about the hatch. I think that let me see. It doesn't sound like they found a hatch to me at all. Plus, it just makes more sense to what he's trying to say. Oh God, man, did you listen to it closely? Do you hear them saying they built a hatch, or can you not tell?
It sounded like it could be that to me.
I mean, he is speaking in that dying voice, but it sounds pretty clearly to me like about, not they built. But I don't know. Closed captioning says they built. To me, it sounds like about, so I'm gonna go with about because that makes more sense.
I agree.
And this transcript right here says about, so at least someone else heard it too.
Right.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Anyway, my leg hurts. Yeah, Boone, you're about to get it cut off. So,
not quite.
You got some more stuff?
Couple more things.
I'll let you go, and then I'll just go. And
Jack gets a "Don't tell me what I can't do."
I know. I'm like, did you hear Locke say that or what?
Yeah, that was one of those things where I don't know how to take that. Another thing is Did Jack's mom like not even show up to his wedding? I mean, they didn't really address it. But...
What's the deal with his mom?
Yeah, like I only remember his mom from that one scene in that flashback where she's like, "You better go find your dad after what you did."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, go get him, Jack.
Yeah. She seems really awful, but I think that's the only time we really see her. I could be wrong because I don't remember all those flashbacks from season 2. But I wondered like where she was supposed to be during this wedding. It seemed weird. Like, I guess it's just focused on his dad because his dad's like the main person he has a problem with. But it just seemed weird they didn't even address that at all.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, I could only assume that there's some sort of. Maybe they're separated at this point or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. The guy's a mess.
He's a mess.
And that's it. That's all I got.
Cool. So I just wanted to say very little things that like when Claire's having contractions, she says, "I'm not having contractions," and she basically says, "I just need to catch my breath."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, the breathing thing again. The breathing to solve all of life's problems.
Oh.
And I loved how what seems to be Claire tries to stop breathing so she will die or something.
Yeah, that was weird. I thought she was trying to like keep the baby inside her like by force, like she was.
Yeah, but she stopped breathing.
But I thought she was stopping breathing because she was like using all her force to like hold the baby inside. Not that she was specifically trying to just stop breathing.
Okay, well, nevertheless, I thought that was a weird thing to do, Claire. You're silly.
Because I think when you exert yourself, like your tendency is to sort of hold your breath when you're about to do some like hard task. You like hold your breath and then, you know, you're supposed to breathe, but I think the instinct is to hold your breath. So
that's why I thought she was trying to stop it by not breathing, because you're supposed to breathe when you're, you know, specifically when you're having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she was trying to do the opposite of that so the baby wouldn't be born. Anyway, I thought it was weird. You know, Boone's last words are "tell Shannon." And that's it. And I was wondering tell Shannon what?
Yeah, I thought it was a cop-out because, like, the only thing he could possibly say is something really cheesy. And so it lets him not have to say it, but essentially be like he said it. So it wasn't like he didn't say anything. I mean, something obvious like, tell her I love her, or tell her she's good, or I don't know. Tell her I'm sorry.
I thought it would be more like, tell her I'm over her or something.
Oh, okay.
Something more like along the lines of his recent journey.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and I think that would be something that would help her get over him, too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But, I mean, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Just thought that was interesting. Is that it? Is that we have nothing to talk about with this episode?
Yeah, you know, what can you do with it? It's...
I gotta say, Sun is very resourceful, and that without her, a lot of things in this island would not have gotten done.
Yeah.
You know, she gets the sea urchin for the hollow needle.
Shot, yeah.
You know. I love. Was that like a culturally like biased comment when Jack was like, "A vein is like a wet noodle." You know about noodles, right, son?
Oh God.
I just like. It dawned on me, I'm like, well, I understand your analogy, but I don't know. The fact that he said noodle.
Oh.
Son, veins are like grains of rice.
To put it in terms you can understand.
Yeah, they're like grains of rice. They're better with soy sauce. No, that's mean. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know what he meant by that, but I guess was just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. I didn't take it that way, but who knows.
You didn't take it as a coincidence?
I didn't take it as not a coincidence.
So you did not take it as an not coincidence.
Thank you.
Just thought I'd rephrase it for you.
Yeah, you make my muddy logic crystal clear.
The whole thing Jack is doing in this episode is very commendable. He is a hero.
Oh. There's a hero in us all.
Well, there's a couple in Jack then. 'Cause he's a cannibal. No.
That's a weird thing to say.
I know. I wanted to talk about the measures he takes to save Boone, but we've all seen the episode, so we all know what he did.
Yeah.
I thought they were all interesting. The compartment syndrome was a nice touch, that even though he tried to give him a blood transfusion, which on a tropical deserted island, that's a pretty hard thing. I love the fact that they had tubing. I remember I thought the same thing when I watched this episode that I thought when I first watched it. Like, okay, you try and do a transfusion, you need a needle. Okay, now you got the needle.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to get the blood from point A to point B?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing really on using island materials that you can't make any sort of tubing.
Right.
You just can't. Not anything that can contain blood and keep it sanitary.
Right.
But great, they have plastic tubing.
Yeah.
Just handy, and it fits perfectly with the needle from the sea urchin. So I thought that was a little too convenient.
That's another thank God for plastic tubing smugglers.
I know. Who brings plastic tubing on a plane? But he was Jack. That's the thing. Usually, a lot of time, like in Charlie's flashback, like when the point sort of was, you'll never take care of anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Which was at the point that he really wanted to.
Right.
Jack's flashback was basically like, you don't know when to give up, and usually they go with those flashbacks, and most of the time I think they learn a lesson from remembering that.
Yeah.
And then so you would think Jack was gonna decide. I mean, he decides to give up after the fact. He should have.
Well, that's the thing. He only gives up because Boone specifically asks him to.
Yeah, so he really doesn't give up. I mean, that's the thing. I thought with that backstory, when Jack's dad was just like, you don't know when to quit,
right.
which is basically why he married the woman he really wasn't that in love with.
Right.
And then you thought with all this Boone thing, with him trying every single thing, that at some point he was going to say, well, I've done all I can really do. But no, he just keeps going.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting how he's one of those characters that's like good to a fault. Like his major flaw is that he's sort of too nice, too good, too willing to help.
Mm-hmm.
Because it I don't know why that's bad, but it is. It just comes out bad sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting for his character. That he's just such a good guy that he doesn't know how to not be a good guy, and that becomes a fault.
Right. Oh, Jack, only you would have a fault like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just too perfect.
Well, it's like Kate, she's the only crime she would commit was a nice crime.
Oh, yeah.
She's a nice girl from Canada.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think that...
I just thought of something.
Well, plus you have some stuff to talk about with the spoilers, right?
Yeah, we gotta do the spoilers.
Can we do it in 20 seconds?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Well, let's hear the thing you just thought of.
Oh, you want to do it in 20 seconds? No, the thing I just thought of is something we need to bring up in the future. Not
Did you write it
podcast.
down? You write it down?
Oh, I'll remember.
Oh, Mrs. Ravenscraft, you never remember.
Okay, yeah. You're saying the spoilers in 20 seconds? We can go through them fast. It's all about how much we want to talk about them. Okay, so all of you fans out there, turn it off if you don't want to hear spoilers about Season 3. Now. Okay, good. And, okay. So everybody that's here wants to hear them. The first thing I want to say specifically is I discovered while looking for spoilers that I think the best organized and best place as far as finding spoilers in a central location is the fuselage forum. Actually, the threaded board has a place that's lost spoilers, something like that. Lost spoilers. So I recommend everyone who wants spoilers to go there. I can't possibly cover everything they've given us. It's a wealth of things. I've just kind of picked a few things out.
Interesting.
That I thought were interesting, but there's lots more than what I'm gonna say. So and the new spoilers are added. They're dated. There's a source, what they're about. It's nicely organized. That's what I like about it. Okay, so here's the first spoiler. So last episode I gave you titles and centricity for episodes 1 and 2 of Season 3. So now I'm going to tell you about episode 3. Episode 3.
Wait. I love the spoiler section, but I don't necessarily want to hear spoilers.
What?
How much? I'm not really big on spoilers. So do I have to listen?
This isn't a big spoil. I mean, I'm specifically picking things that are. I'm not picking the things that are like real hardcore spoilers.
But it's about what's going to happen in episode 3.
Yeah, it's a tiny thing. It's basically the title, the centricity, and a small plot element.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. The title of episode 3 of season 3 is going to be, supposedly, The Glass Ballerina.
Oh, God.
This is a... Can you guess?
Kate?
No.
Oh, Sun and Jin?
This is a Sun-centric episode.
Oh, just Sun?
According to this.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's a Sun-centric episode, and apparently in this, she has a dream of her future featuring her 9-year-old daughter.
Oh, God.
Which, according to this spoiler, is Korean.
Okay.
So, that's all I got.
So that goes along with Michael being the father of the baby.
Right, which rules out that theory, if true.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Interesting.
So, I don't know where that's going to lead as far as her having a vision in the future. Does it imply that she gets off the island? What is her 9-year-old daughter going to have to do with anything? I can't imagine.
And I'm really surprised that she's even having a kid.
Yeah.
I want everyone on the island to wake up and realize Sun isn't pregnant. I want that just to go away.
Oh. See, like, I was wondering how they're going to deal with it, because realistically, she won't have it for a billion seasons.
And they're just going to do it. We're going to see the future of it.
Yeah. Like, this seems to be a clue to how they're going to deal with it.
Oh, good. So we never have to actually deal with it on the island. That's good.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So that kind of means that she gets. I mean, depending on what the dream, where they are in the dream,
right?
That means that she gets off the island.
That's the thing. It doesn't say where they are in the dream, and I mean, it doesn't say any. It doesn't say whether the dream really is what happens, or she's just having this as a vision or something. You know. So.
Well, they said vision of the future.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I guess it didn't have to be an accurate vision.
Right. Right. I mean, that's the way this spoiler person worded it, so, you know. I don't know how much faith to place in their specific wording. I would just look at sort of the general meaning of it. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So there's that. Episode 4 of Season 3 is supposed to be called Every Man for Himself. And,
Sawyer.
No. No.
Charlie?
Good guess. No. I don't know how long to let you go.
Well, the last person I would say is Hurley, but...
No.
It's not Jack.
No.
It's not Locke.
No.
Is it Jen?
No.
Is it a man?
It is a man.
Bernard?
No.
You see, I'm desperate.
I can tell, yeah. That's a last resort.
Wait. Who's left? I already said Charlie. Oh, Saeed?
No.
Oh, damn. I was hoping it was Saeed.
Sorry.
That's all the characters, man.
Yeah, you're forgetting one specific character.
Okay, let me see if I can remember him. Hold on. Let me see who it is. I'm looking at pictures. It's not Mr. Echo.
No.
I'm forgetting a character. It's not Walt.
No.
Oh, is it Mike? It's not Michael.
No.
Who else is on this island? I've named all of the characters. I mean, I guess I haven't, but
yeah, you're forgetting a person.
Boone is dead.
Yeah, Boone's dead. That would be weird.
Wait, it's a man, right?
It's a man.
It's not Locke.
It's not Locke.
Not Sawyer.
Not Sawyer.
Not Charlie.
No.
Not Jin.
No.
Not Saeed.
No.
Not Jack.
No.
Not Hurley.
No.
You tell me there's another man. Was this person in season 1?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's a season 2. It's a new person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who's new besides Bernard.
I could give you a really obvious hint. I don't know how. You know who this person is. You're just not thinking of them as an option.
It's a main character?
I wouldn't call him a main character.
Skeeve?
Oh my god. It's Steve-centric. Wow. That would be crazy.
Wait. You wouldn't call them a main character.
No.
It's someone who's in the tail section.
No.
Oh! I know who it is. It's Henry.
No.
Oh.
You're closer, though.
Wait, so they weren't in the tail section, and they weren't in season 1.
Right?
It's not Ethan, is it?
No.
Okay, because he's dead.
That would be nice, but no.
Is it Tom?
This is fun. No.
Is it one of the others?
No, it's not. I'm really amazed at how you've named, like, everybody on the island.
It's not Robert.
No.
I don't get how they weren't a part of the original tail section, right?
Right.
And they weren't a part of the fuselage section, right?
Right.
But I don't know how they can be, and if they're not an other. Okay.
There's one person who fits the bill.
I got it. It's Desmond.
It's Desmond.
Oh my god, I forgot about it.
Wow.
I'm like, if you're not an other, and you're not in tail section, and you weren't in season 1, you're not on the island.
Oh, there's only one person left, and you just specifically didn't name that person.
I forgot about him. Totally forgot about Desmond. Oh, God, brother.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, folks, for taking you through that guessing game.
Yeah.
I couldn't even. I just forgot. I was just thinking it was a main character.
Yeah.
I was reaching. I was like, Henry? What kind of Henry?
When you said Bernard, I knew you were really desperate.
Yeah. God, please.
That's the end of your robe. Because if they did Bernard in episode 4, I mean, they've lost it.
They've lost it.
That's it. They're done being good.
So this is a Desmond episode.
It's a Desmond-centric episode. It's called Every Man for Himself, and apparently has flashbacks to his time in prison.
So that pretty much means he survived the thing, right?
I guess, yeah. That's part. Although I spoiled that last podcast. I spoiled that last podcast.
I can't tell what you're saying.
In the last podcast, I gave that as a spoiler that Desmond survived and Locke.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's pretty much been revealed, and I think it's been pretty much revealed that Echo survives too. So I think they're all going to make it.
I wonder if the hatch is still there then.
I believe it's going to not still be there.
Okay. Everyone's alive, but the hatch has just disappeared. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I read a specific quote from someone who said the hatch is not going to be a part of season 3.
Wait, but does that mean it's not still there?
Well, yeah, I think it's going to be irreparably damaged. I mean, I don't think it's going to disappear, but I think they're just going to leave it.
All right, what's the next one?
Okay, the next thing is, this is just some sort of general stuff. Apparently, our favorite character from the last podcast, Ethan, will be returning in season 3. In some context.
Because he's still alive.
William Mapother was spotted in Hawaii on set.
What did you say? It's Mapother.
Yeah, I want to say Mapother, but...
Okay, there's no Y in there.
Yeah, I know. Mapother, okay, there you go.
That's
Mapother.
not how you... Mapother. Pretend the A is an O.
Mapother. Okay. Yeah, anyway, he was spotted in Hawaii playing Ethan. So somehow he's going to be in there. I'm thinking a flashback, But
yeah, I'll buy a flashback. I mean, there's lots more going on that we need to know about.
Because that's how he appeared in season 2.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to come back alive. So, but anyway, he'll be back. So, I don't know. I'll enjoy seeing more on Ethan.
Hopefully he's something.
Okay. I agree, I think. All right. So, regarding where the others are.
Do you mean in regards to?
In regards to where the others are, this is just like a clue or whatever. It's bigger than a hatch, and by hatch they mean a station.
Yeah, please.
But smaller than the island. And we'll be seeing this camp a lot this season, and it looks nothing like the camp where Michael went when he was captured. So, and it's not a treehouse.
Well, I think it's underground.
So,
by underground, I mean underwater.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Well, there was all that theory a while ago about underwater hatches and stuff, and that's where the cable was coming from. And there's some of you guys out there might remember there was this whole thing with one of the Next on Lost preview things. I think it was when they showed the shark or something happened underwater, and there's this thing in the distance that people think was a station or some sort of submarine or some sort of weird thing that you couldn't really tell what it was. And I don't think. Huh?
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying I don't think they would have built that thing that far in advance, whatever it was. Even if they did at some sort of underwater facility that the others lived at, I don't think they would have had that in season 1 or wherever.
Yeah, right. And I thought it was revealed clearly that was the camera crew, and it was just a mistake.
Oh, I never heard what it ended up being.
Like I saw a blow up of it where it's pretty clear that it was the camera crew.
The underwater thing?
Well, it was a scene with the bow where you saw something in the distance where they were.
No, this was like something underwater.
Oh, underwater. Okay, sorry, never mind.
Yeah, this was something underwater.
I'm thinking of something else. Okay.
Anyway.
Fair enough. There's the Dharma shark that everybody's forgotten about. So it definitely could be the case. Okay, so I'll leave you with the exact quote regarding the hatch.
Okay.
Because it's here, and I didn't remember it was here. The question is, did the hatch really explode? The answer is, in the words of producer Brian Burke, the hatch is gone. Done. We have new sets that have been built on our soundstage. So it's a whole new world for you. That's what he said. So
Cool. I don't know what that means.
take that however you will. I mean, I take it to mean they don't have the set for the hatch anymore, so it's not going to be there anymore.
Well, that doesn't answer the question. When the question was the hatch destroyed?
Yeah, they didn't. Did the hatch explode?
Oh, did it explode?
He says the hatch is gone. Didn't quite answer the question, but they never do.
Yeah, they never do.
So,
Well, cool.
all right.
Goodbye, hatch. I was tired of washing clothes anyway.
Yeah, oh, weren't we all? And will the supply drop still occur? I don't know. We'll have to find out. Will they have to hunt boar again? Probably not.
Are those real answers?
Yeah.
Okay.
My
So
answers.
the others so they're not real. So the others location bigger than a station, but smaller than the island. Interesting. And they specifically said it's not a treehouse.
Yeah.
But
I think
is
it was a joke, but they did say
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, where could it really be? Why did they say smaller than the island? That must mean it's on the island. I mean, to me, that's what. If someone says that must mean it's encompassing the island. But then, how big is the island anyway? We've seen varying reports.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I think people used Russo's map or something and said it could be up to like 200 miles long or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something crazy, but it can't be because they've hiked to the North Shore. Of the
Yeah.
island and, like,
Yeah, they shouldn't be hiking that far.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to hike to the North Shore. It'll take us about 3 months.
Yeah.
Take plenty of water.
They've gotten really far in really short amounts of time. So
yeah,
I get the sense from the show that the island isn't that big, but
yeah, I think if it's more than 10 or 15 miles long, I'll be surprised.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, the city of San Francisco is 7 miles wide. So,
oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a small amount of space seem really huge.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're on foot, I mean, it's going to seem really huge.
Yeah, well, that's why San Francisco's big.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, that's my spoiler segment.
That's weird. I'm really enamored by this. Bigger than the hatch, but smaller than an island.
Oh, I have one more thing.
Is it interesting?
I think it is.
Okay, well.
Apparently, one of the others is going to be somebody that Jack saw off the island. So,
one of the others that like we've already seen. I mean, you probably don't know.
They don't say. So,
well,
could be a new other.
It seems like it should be a new other because Jack has pretty much seen all the others that we've seen.
Right.
So you think he would have, unless he just held his tongue or he didn't remember.
Right.
I could see Miss Clue or like. I could see one of them being somebody.
Yeah, no, I think.
Wait, that's bad though. That's crazy. I just thought about how crazy that is. That one of the others was off the island.
Well, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like that's a reveal, even though you don't know who it is.
Wow, that means that really throws things into question. This show is either about to get really good or like really bad.
Yeah.
They're either about to lose it or take it to a better level.
Yeah.
Because now they're putting pieces together that you shouldn't mess with.
Right. They've opened the box.
They've opened the box. And there's no prize inside, folks.
Oh.
Only healthy cereal that your mother wants you to eat, even though it's shredded wheat.
Oh. At least it's frosted, though.
And even though half of it's frosted, it doesn't make up for the other half.
It also has gelatin. Ew.
What?
Frosted mini wheats have gelatin.
Well, what doesn't have gelatin, vegan boy?
Sorry. That's not true. He's just saying that.
What's
I don't
not
want people
true?
to hate me.
Oh, they can hate you for other reasons.
Yeah,
it
okay.
doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, I think we're done. Unless there's anything else. Oh. So let's. By the time you guys are listening to this, you should be ankle deep in our. Oh wow.
Ankle deep.
Ankle deep in our Lost Lowdown Trivia Contest Sweepstakes giveaway.
Shouldn't they be waist deep? Ankle deep isn't very deep.
Yeah, but there's not that many questions, so...
Okay. They only go up to the ankle.
It only goes to the ankle.
Okay.
So hopefully you guys are taking part in that or have sent in your questions. And so, like we said, there's only 10 questions up there on the site. Answer those. Email us at lostlowdown@gmail.com. Send us your answers. The first person to do that wins a free copy of the Lost Season 2 DVD set, which I'm sure will be just as good as Season 1 DVD set. Lots of goodies and more bloopers. I love the bloopers. That's my favorite part of any sort of behind-the-scenes stuff, is the bloopers and deleted scenes, so I love it. And so anyway, that's that. Anything else we should mention? I
would like to invite anyone who hasn't already to come to our website, The Lost Lowdown at thelostlowdown.blogspot.com, and to add themselves to our Frapper map and to leave some comments.
Yes, pin yourselves to our Frapper map, and when you do, leave a little comment because it helps.
Yeah, we like it when people leave comments.
Amy and Torrance, thank you for joining.
Indeed.
It'd be great if you left a little comment like, hey, Torrance, California loves Lost Lowdown. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes me think that people care.
Well, because they do care.
That's why I like it. So yeah,
you
please.
like everything. Yes, Amy in Torrance, and Janet in Cleveland, and Laura in Chicago, Samantha and Mullica Hill, of course Kieran, our friend across the pond,
Oh.
and then those are the only people on our list so far. So join our list, because you know what? There's only 7 people, including Justin and I, and it's kind of sad.
It is quite sad.
It's a little sad, considering we've got about like 200 hardcore listeners. And then 2,000 potential that receive our podcast in different ways.
Yeah.
So
some of you, yeah, please, if you enjoy it. I mean, I guess if you hate it, well, I want to know anyway.
If you hate it, let us know, and we'll decide not to change it. But
I think you can still put yourself on your map, even if you hate us.
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, yeah, why not?
Just put.
I think I'm gonna go on the map and add myself and say I hate us.
Yeah. Yeah. We like that, actually.
You guys podcast way too long.
Yeah, something like that.
You don't use enough Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah, we don't.
Where's all the theme music and the segment music and the closing music?
Oh, we don't have anything.
We're not big on music, people, well, in terms of podcasts.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I was listening to some other podcasts, and I'm glad that with ours, once you press play, you're in the podcast. You don't have to sit through recaps or theme music or opening music and all that. I mean, that's fine if you like it, but I don't like it, and that's why we don't do it, besides the fact Justin doesn't like it. And, yeah, I think it's nice just to get in there, hear the episode, and get out. Like a stranger in the night. Okay.
Strange way to put it.
So thanks for listening, guys. We will be back with our season 1 retrospective, part 5, which will be episodes 20 through 24.
Right. 21.
21 through 24.
Through 25.
Right. I'm gonna stop listening to you.
Sorry.
It's 21 through 24.
Okay, well, if you count the season finale as 2 episodes, which I do.
I count them as 2 because they count them as 2.
Okay.
So 21 through 24, which, if you're at home counting, is The Greater Good, Born to Run, Exodus Part 1, and the 2-part Exodus Part 2. So there we go. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
And that will be the end of season 1.
And that will be the end of our season 1 retrospective. And we should not promise to do season 2 retrospectives, but we will.
We certainly want to.
We certainly want to, and we will try. So after our next podcast, stay tuned. Hopefully, if we have enough time before season 3 starts, we will recap all the episodes of season 2 that we have not podcasted about, which is 20 of them?
Yeah, 1 through 20, pretty much.
1 through 20. So, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Thank you, and namaste.
Namaste, and good luck.